Welcome to America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Those watching out in Valley Sports SoCal as well, good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, for the love of the race. Visit americasbestracing.net. Today, Aqueduct card due to weather canceled both Friday and Saturday. We do have live coverage from Hot Springs, Arkansas. We'll preview a big weekend coming up at Oaklawn. Terrific card today. We are about 4 minutes away from race 4. We'll have racing from Tampa Bay and Oldsmar, Florida as well. All that coming up. Live coverage from Hot Springs with Paul LaDuca. We're going to check in with him in just a moment. Race 5 at Oaklawn is going to kick off their late Big 5. Difficult sequence coming up in that late Big 5. But first things first, race 4 here is a $20,000 maiden claiming sprint. 6 furlongs, track listed as muddy. For our first live action of the afternoon, and the favorite right now, Bourbon on Fire. Trainer Kim Poole, kind of been known at this meet for bringing in huge long shots. Unfamiliar position here of having a favorite. Welcome in Andy Serling here, New York Racing Association handicapper. Good to see you in this 4th race. We'll kick things off with Kim Poole. Can he do it here?
Well, I think that it's sort of a theme with that horse, Kentucky Bourbon as well, with 9 starts. This one's had 14. What do you do with these horses that are sort of career maidens? Now, it's not like the recent races Bourbon on Fire has been favored, but he's been short prices before. But the question is, where do you really go? Is there anybody that appetizing? You've got Contrabandista off the layoff, but I found horrible layoff stats for trainer Randy Morse. I'll tell you, I have trouble with races like this, Greg.
Form, yeah, not on a high note here. And here's one you were just talking about, Contrabandista, who is intriguing, but a long time off in a barn, as you said, not great off the bench. Let's go live to Paul LaDuca for more.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, muddy racetrack so far here at Oaklawn Park. The sun has come out, and the last couple days, I would say Monday actually through Wednesday or so. Yesterday it eased up a little bit, but the track was closed for those couple days. It was frozen here, actually. There was some snow on Monday, Tuesday, persistent with some rain, too. So the track is muddy. I don't know if it's going to get upgraded to fast by the end of the day. There is some cuppiness, but, you know, it looks like you can float on the top of the racetrack in here. And so far, speed has been good. Now, I'm not saying, you know, the best horses have won because, you know, they've all been decent low prices. There hasn't been any big long shots in here. When you get to this race, gosh, I'm in agreement with Andy. This is a tough race because you look at the 3, like a horse for Randy Morse dropping in class. You look like another horse like the 9 for Johnny Court that's dropping in class. But these horses have not beaten anybody in those races. So you look to some of the other horses, and where do you go to in here? You know, Bourbon on Fire for Kim Poole, you know, like you said, Greg, he's been shocking with some big upsets. I think he's got a really live horse later in the card. You know, he claimed this one from Steve Aspen. A little disappointing last time, but probably fits in this category in here. I thought the 9, big-time integrity. You know, Richard Jackson, like I said, this one for John Court, this horse has been working well in the morning, but, you know, the drop in class for 20, I get it, but this horse has been beaten by 19, 13, 36 lengths, so what are you really going to get? I thought the value in the race was the 11 running block. When you look at the 11, best race was over a wet surface. Martin Villafranco and Isaac Castillo, they've been a pretty good combination. They've actually had a couple upsets as well. You know, this horse has the 11 hole. I mean, his numbers are a tiny bit light, but right now at 8-1, I just think he's a better proposition. And who's going to go to the front end in here is going to be the key. Could it be the 2, King Doodle? Or I thought the 5, 5-0 Fox, did show speed first time out before having to pull up, but now coming back for Daniel Pite. So very interesting race. I'm going with a long shot.
All right, Paulie, thanks. Yeah, that 5 horse, Andy, you just brought him up to me off air. This horse actually went long first time out and was forward. But you see some quick works sprinting coming back, so maybe this horse is going to be the one on the front end.
When it comes to races like this, and I think you and I have a similar outlook, we're looking for the fuzzy. The horse that just doesn't really have anything to go on but might be a little bit interesting, because you look through and it's like a field of horses that have had a lot of chances and they've failed in those chances. It doesn't mean, in all likelihood, one of them's going to break their maiden today. But 5-0 Fox, the 5, I mean, as trainer switched to Danny Pites, a trainer who doesn't have a lot of terrific starters, but he's been a very successful trainer over the years. Ran against much better, going long first time, showed speed before being pulled up. So it's not as though this horse just trailed by 20 lengths the whole way around. So maybe there's something a little bit interesting about this one, dropping second time, switching to Danny Pite. So for me, I'm always looking for the fuzzy, and I'm not taking horses like the 2 at 5-2, King Doodle. I mean, it's not like the Asmussen barn has such great numbers off the claim with maidens. And look at the prices this horse has failed at Evangeline Downs.
4 to 5, near even money another time. And we saw his son, Keith, who's aboard today, now the 5-2 favorite on the 2, actually deliver a really good ride last week. But these two together have not been winning a ton of races so far at this meet. That's probably going to change. But right now, it's not the case.
Well, it's an interesting situation for Steve Asmussen. Obviously, he would like to give his son nothing but winners. This is a horse that Steve owns. On the other hand, if you're somebody who has a more high-profile horse with Steve, and he says, you can ride my son, who just getting experience, or you can ride Ricardo Santana or somebody, in general, they're going to choose Ricardo, and that's just the way the business works. It doesn't mean that Keith Asmussen can't ride. It just means he's got opportunity, right? Am I right? Keith, right? Okay. Not the other one?
No, you're right. 2-1 favorite, King Doodle. Wow, an 0-4-11 runner, but that's the power of that name, that barn.
Well, as you've pointed, actually, they've been heating it up, right? They're 7 for 95. Weren't they like 1 for 40 or something?
Yeah.
So actually, they've been,
getting
reverting back
a little
to
bit.
the positive mean.
Fourth, live from Oakland. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Uncle Ray. Last to load, Chow Mein. They're at the post. They're off. 5-0 Fox broke well. So did Big Time Integrity. To the outside end, Chow Mein. These three are quickest. Then comes Uncle Ray, King Doodle. Between horses and tightly, it's Contrabandista. Coselio is next. Then Bourbon on Fire and Runnin' Block. And the trailer is Kentucky Bourbon. Up the backstretch with 5-0 Fox and Big Time Integrity. 5-0 Fox ahead in front. Big Time Integrity is traveling nicely for John Court. Just looked over his right shoulder, so he thinks he's got a handful of horse. We'll find out. There goes Big Time Integrity to put his red blinkers in front. Those two have opened up 5 lengths on Chow Mein. King Doodle's at the rail. Coselio's between horses. Bourbon on Fire begins to unwind in the blue cap. Here's Bourbon on Fire up to a joint 4th. 3.5 back to Contrabandista, then Runnin' Block, and Kentucky Bourbon is the trailer, and 5-0 Fox and Big Time Integrity are still 1-2. Big Time Integrity outside, 5-0 Fox inside, Big Time Integrity now to the front. He leads by a length over 5-0 Fox. Stretch runners are coming in. One of them is Kentucky Bourbon, who is erupting from the back of the pack, and he's closing with every stride. Big Time Integrity is 16th out. Kentucky Bourbon catching with every stride. Big Time Integrity, Kentucky Bourbon, Big Time Integrity. Big Time Integrity beat Kentucky Bourbon a length and a quarter. Bourbon on Fire was 3rd. Contrabandista finished 4th.
Big Time Integrity, John Court, Richard Jackson. Paulie mentioned this one lowest level this 4-year-old had ever run against.
Yeah, I guess this one you could say was a fuzzy as well, right? It never run against maiden claimers before, coming off a layoff of about 8 months exactly. For trainers had no success dropping from maiden special and maiden claimers. He's actually 0 for 10 with 1 hitting the board. This horse has absolutely no form. He had a dramatically improved speed, though he showed a little speed last time in the dirt. The 5 seemed like he was alive here too, but what happened, right? Somebody off the beaten path won.
Yeah.
Not to say that we could have had him or had him.
Kentucky Bourbon ran huge late, picking up a lot of ground, but runs out of room for Danny Pish. So 6-1 on your winner. In that 4th, we've got the late pick 5 coming up next. We're going to look ahead at part of that pick 5 sequence. The 8th at Oakland, 6-furlong sprint for Arkansas bred, allowance optional claiming runners. Unbridled Twister, sure to take money in here for Al Cates. Ricardo Santana Jr. will be aboard and was in a stake last year at Oakland. 2nd, Beat a Neck Connie Kay.
Comes off the first race at Oaklawn after having a prep race at Delta Downs where he caught a muddy sealed track. Obviously, one of the horses that can win this race. And I think you look through, and there's some similarities between, as far as speed figures, between a lot of the horses that are going to take money, including this one.
And we'll see if Unbridled Twister can step up 2 for 13 coming into today's action. Richness sure to take plenty of play as well. Coming off a lengthy layoff, hadn't raced since March of last year, came back with a win in a soft spot, voided claim.
I feel the voided claims are funny because the reality is we've seen so many of these voided claims come back and run well that it's hard to know without telling people specifically what the problem is. I'm not sure it's more hurtful than helpful as far as the horse player now is moving up. But the speed figures have this horse as a contender in here. And, you know, you and I think, were on last time when this horse ran, and we both talked about how this horse came to hand last year at Oaklawn, but was clearly ready off the layoff. The competition a little bit tougher, but how much tougher is it really?
One of the main horses to beat in there. Yeah, 4 for 7 at Oaklawn for Richness, 5-year-old mare who obviously is, I think, can move forward off that performance if she can, better than she's ever been.
I mean, she ran slightly faster by her speed figures last year. That was her first start off a layoff. She won so fastly, I think there's no reason, you know, considering her consistency. And as far as the voided claim, well, you say you're talking about a 5-year-old making her 9th start. Yeah, she's got some issues, but that doesn't mean that when she hits the racetrack, she doesn't seem to perform well more often than not.
That's the feature. It's part of that late pick 5 sequence, which begins in the next race coming up. Let's take a look at today's action. Today's race is presented by Claiborne Farm. So muddy at Oaklawn, in case you're just tuning in. We'll get to race 5 momentarily to kick off that late pick 5 sequence. Tampa Bay down in Oldsmar, Florida. They are fast and firm. We're going to have races 6 through 9 coming up in just a little bit. You can play it all, of course, by getting signed up started with NYRA Bets. New members. Tell you that code to punch in here in just a moment. The offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus at nyrabets.com.
Here it's coming. It's a secret. This is being revealed.
It used to change quite a bit.
I know. Anytime you're ready to say
We've
match 200.
We've been consistent for a while. Match 200 at nyrabets.com.
Yeah, you're ready to say it. And when the second you say it, you know it's changed.
And the one time I jump ahead, yeah.
Right.
Back in race 4, big time Integrity. Off since June of last year. Actually tried this horse going long on the turf the last time he was seen. Back to dirt, back sprinting, and a maiden breaking win.
Can we say they knew that this horse paid only 6 to 1? I mean, I guess I didn't print the morning line when I printed the PPs. I probably had them a higher price. Listen, this is what we talked about a fuzzy, and I didn't land on him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say I would have bet him, but this is a horse that been running against better horses off a layoff, and he got it done. And I don't know who was thinking that taking 2 to 1 on King Doodle was a good idea, but there's got to be better ways to make money at the racetrack than betting horses like that at 2 to 1.
9-4-10 in the 4th. Late pick 5, as I mentioned, is next. We'll set that up when we come back from a timeout. Tampa Bay, mile on the turf. We're going to pick things up with a 7th, I should say, at Tampa. A mile on the grass, 32 maiden claiming race. We'll be back.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage out on Valley SoCal San Diego as well. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual. Unusually, well, they've actually moved up their post times at Tampa. I don't know if I have ever seen that except for weather, and there's no weather issues, do not think.
No, they had a little brief shower earlier in the day.
Nevertheless, they've already run race 6. Now we're on race 7. So mile on the turf, 32, maiden claiming event, and the 7-2 favorite. Gratia Prince, who has never been on grass, never been beyond 6 furlongs, the 2-horse for Kathleen O'Connell.
Yeah, I mean, the dam produced one horse that won on the turf. She was a multiple winner. She won 5 times, but her produce has been really horrendous. And the one that won was very, very weak. I'm not exactly sure what's appealing other than the fact that this horse has run faster on the dirt than turf. I thought the interesting horses in here, there's 2 of them. One of them is the 10, Capazzo, who got about as ridiculous a trip as a horse could get last time out. I'm not familiar. There's a rider change to this horse. I'm not at all familiar with the rider. But I guess you guys are showing the race 2 back with the horse finished second. But the reality is it's the last race that I think people will want to see because this horse just got eliminated at the start, hopped over the start, was pinballed around, shuffled back to last, got into significant trouble in there. So I think this horse is interesting off of that trip. The other one I'd look at would be Pavoni. I know Pavoni ran once the turf and ran absolutely horrendously. This is the first foal from a horse whose dam was a pretty good turf horse. And Grand Motion dropping down. Grand Motion has very good numbers, maiden special weight to maiden claimer on the turf. And maybe Pavoni, just the drop, can do a lot better in here. They were the 2 that I was focusing on.
And Grand Motion also with Whiskey Mac next door.
Yep.
Will get Lasix, put blinkers on last time, was forward on a race taken off the turf. Back to Capazzo for a minute. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the rider change. Carlos Rojas going to be on the 10. I'm very surprised you're seeing 6-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder a little bit, is this one of those things where the board's going to change a little bit? I mean, the 3-1 morning line, I thought that was a little on the low side, but I have to think this horse is going to come down significantly, right, Greg? Both this horse and the 9.
Yeah.
Aren't the 9 and 10 kind of supposed to be the favorites in here?
Looked that way to me.
I mean, considering the lack of form in this field, I'll look at doubles. They have to be favored here.
Here's the 2, Gratia Prince. So we mentioned going longer for the first time, getting on turf for the first time, and blinkers coming off for Kathleen O'Connell, 7-2.
Yeah, this horse is actually favored in doubles. Not my kind of horse, but obviously not impossible. Likely to be forward in here.
Next door, we're going to see 16-1. Here's Classic Bourbon. Lasix for the first time.
2 chances on the turf, 1 in this class, and neither time did the horse do any running, but does get Lasix, as you mentioned.
Antonov, Derek Ryan trains, has had 4 opportunities on the lawn.
And while it's dropping down from maiden special lane claimer, I'm not sure that this race is any significantly different than some of the races this horse was in.
Yeah, the impact was at Monmouth with a 30 buyer. Not going to get it done. The 5 toes in the sand gets Lasix first on grass.
Tries the turf for the first time. Dam was 0 for 4 on the turf. Could not really run third foal.
Here's one of the 2 for Grand Motion, Pavoni.
Yeah, I'd sort of lean to this one if I was looking for a little better price, and is a big price looking at doubles.
Stable mate Whiskey Mac, Lasix.
Unlike the 6, hasn't failed yet on the turf, and there's enough pedigree to say maybe this first foal from the dam can handle it.
The bearish one in for a tag for the first time, turf for the first time.
Dam produced 1 turf winner out of 5 to try it, but nothing to get excited about.
Now, you talked about this being a player in the race, 6-1 here on Red October.
Seems very logical. Surprised looking at doubles that these horses are distant like 3rd and 4th choice, 5th choices even.
And Capazzo thought might be favored in here, 6-1.
Is the 3rd choice in doubles? I'm very surprised. Very surprised.
A lot of surprising things happening in Oldsmar, Florida, including post times being moved up. 2 minutes of post.
Full of surprises
here in the 7th. You can follow along, get all the stats of the jockeys, horses, trainers by going to NYRA.com/TV schedule. Download your free Equibase past performances. Again, NYRA.com/TV schedule. So here's the 2. We don't know. Gratia Prince. First time beyond 6 furlongs, first time on the grass, blinkers coming off. A lot of changes for this Kathleen O'Connell 3-year-old son of Connect.
Yeah, but the problem is you're betting a horse. It's probably going to be favored, at least the doubles indicated, and right now is the co-favorite, that's never tried the turf and never gone long before. The Connect is a Curlin. I don't know. It's not like this. The Dam herself was a solid turf horse. She ran an 84 buyer, but as a broodmare, she has really been a poor producer. but maybe this one will be an anomaly so far.
So minute to post coming up here in the 7th. Again, back at Oaklawn, about 14 minutes away from race 5. That is going to kick off their late pick 5 sequence. 6 furlong sprint, condition $10,000 claiming race to begin it, where, and we'll get to it coming up. That race, though, I thought was very interesting. The 2 Wobberjawed and the outside horse who gets in, the 13, the also eligible Bank. Both horses who had looked like they had serious ability at one point, and now just a long time off and nosediving in class.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the big news on race number 5, right? Sorry, I'm getting peep. Is Bank getting in? Because in a lot of ways, I was kind of hoping this horse wouldn't get in. Because, you know, what do you do with this horse? It's Chris Hartman, who seems to be winning with everything, and obviously dropping a lot in a field with not a lot you want to play, but hard to trust horses like that at short prices.
Yeah, there's Oaklawn right-hand side of your screen. Hard to see both Wobberjawed, though, and Bank getting beat, isn't it? Or no?
That's the thing, right, exactly. You're dealing with 2 significant layoff horses. I mean, I guess they can both show up, but I think you bring up a good point. You know, when you try to be sort of a wise guy, and you've got an idea, and you say, you know, I'm hoping this horse doesn't show up. Okay, but then when you're hoping 2 horses don't show up, you know, you start to think, and they're both top trainers. It's not like they're not strong barns. It's decisions you have to make.
But to drop them that low, too, they must not have a ton of ability left.
Right. I mean, to be fair, with Wobberjaw, the horse started out at a low level. Whereas the 13, the question becomes, you know, is there somebody else you like, and do you like them enough to gamble on them? There's cost basis, right? An ex-Klarovich Chad Brown horse that now running for the bottom at 10,000. You think that one's that reliable?
There's Bank, by the way. He's the 9-5 favorite. 6-year-old. Yeah, the 2 class horses, both of them 6-year-olds, to kick off this late pick 5 at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion, to be honest with you. I find it a very, very treacherous race, but you want to have some kind of coverage depending on where you're going later in the pick 5. I don't know who I would land on in here. I mean, they're all so completely and totally unreliable.
See if either of those 2 show up.
Maybe Paulie's got some better ideas when we get back to him.
Yeah, we'll check in with him in a bit. I'm sure he's going after that pick 5 this afternoon. So back to Tampa. Again, mile on the turf coming up here in race 7. And back, wow, down to 2-1 favoritism now. Gradia Prince was 7-2. Wasn't he the 2 horse? A very mild favorite?
Yeah, it was 7-2, but the double is $27, and the first winner paid $660. But looking at doubles, the horse may have been a slightly better price in doubles. This horse is a clear-cut favorite, and the double. I think the clear-cut second choice. Hang on a second. Was the number 7 horse, who's 7-2 right now, and then you went right up to the 10, the 9, and the 4.
Well, you preferred the other Grand Motion horse, right? The 6 Pavoni.
Yeah.
7-1.
That's the way I'm going. This horse has enough turf pedigree. I want to give this horse one more chance. Look, I don't know, maybe the horse can't run at all, but the last race was a little too bad to almost be believed. So I'm interested in the 6 and 10. I played some doubles. I played 6 and 10 with the 7 in race number 8. You know me, I love a turn back, so I went to the number 7 in the 8th race.
Well, making their way to the gate, about to load up, so 2-1 favoritism now, 2-1, 5-2 on Gradia Prince, but there's definitely value with the 9 and 10 in here.
I think so. I think I think the right horses here are the 6, 9, and 10 personally.
And you know, for those that think Gradia Prince, well, this horse, sprinter, stretching out, we say it all the time. Dirt speed doesn't always translate to turf speed. The 10 actually had shown turf sprinting ability to be on the lead. Capazzo.
Yeah, I mean, the 10 has got to break well, and the rider, look, the problem is this is not the riding colony in New York. And when you ride a horse like the 10, there are some potential other speeds. You're going to have to be decisive and make some kind of decision of what you're doing, because you don't want to have happen what happened last time. And if you're going to go, you got to go, and you got to get that position. You got to make your position. Otherwise, you get caught wide in the first turn. You'll have no chance.
See how it plays out here. 2-turn mile coming up. Here's 7th at Tampa Bay. Favoritism, Gradia Prince, who inherits the rail with a scratch of the 1 in here. Antonio Gallardo for Kathleen O'Connell. And Jason Beam will have the call here. 7th from Tampa.
The Bearish One will be next. Toes in the Sand coming forward. Just waiting on Red October, and Capazzo will be all set for a start here in today's 7th. Red October goes up. Carlos Rojas, Capazzo to the outside. Capazzo going in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Whiskey Mac got out in good order in the center. Down toward the inside, Classic Bourbon is forwardly placed. And down on the rail comes Garantia Prince, who's close up. As they bend into the stretch, it's going to be Classic Bourbon and Whiskey Mac. Those two going by the wire, length and a half, almost 2 in front now of Garantia Prince, who's out in third. The Bearish One right to that one's outside is fourth. Capazzo tries to work over from the extreme outside as a joint fifth. As cutting the corner inside of that one is Antonov. It's 3.5 more lengths, then back to Toes in the Sand. And the two at the back early on are Red October and Pavoni, as the 9 of them covered by about 11 lengths as they work their way onto the back stretch. 23 seconds for the opening quarter, and Classic Bourbon is just in front. Classic Bourbon by a half a length to Whiskey Mac, who presses a little bit closer now in second. A length and a half more back to the Bearish One. Garantia Prince starts to advance down along the fence, is a joint third. It's a length and a half more back to Capazzo, who's fifth right now, about 4.5 off the speed. Then we come back to Antonov, who's toward the inside in sixth. Starting to move from the back, Red October in the red colors. Then comes Pavoni, who's out of last, and Toes in the Sand now the trailer. 48-1 for that opening half mile. And on the outside, Whiskey Mac right up alongside of Classic Bourbon, and Whiskey Mac goes to the front. The Bearish One waiting for room. Garantia Prince found a seam between horses. Here's Garantia Prince now in the yellow colors trying to come after Whiskey Mac. Whiskey Mac to the top of the stretch. The lead is still 2. Garantia Prince takes up the chase, a clear-cut second. They've gone 2.5 or 3 ahead of everybody else as they come to the furlong grounds. It's Whiskey Mac and Angel Suarez in front. Down the outside, Garantia Prince trying to reel this one in the final 150 yards. It's still Whiskey Mac there. Garantia Prince getting there with each and every stride. Whiskey Mac, here's Garantia Prince on the outside. Garantia Prince up in time. Whiskey Mac was second. They were about 8 clear of Antonov. Then came Toes in the Sand and the rest.
Never in question. Wow, this horse closing a ton of ground down the stretch. Garantia Prince taking to the turf.
They knew. The Chalk's running 1-2 in here with the horse who was third choice, or dual third choice in doubles, getting third. Antonov way back. I'll tell you what, Greg, I don't want anybody out of this race, though maybe Capazzo could get a inside post sometime and get a slightly better trip.
Prices for you when we come back. We'll have the story as well of the Ed Brown Society celebrating the rich history of African Americans in the sport, trying to create that next generation as well. Stay with us.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 Honda, 300,000. 275, EDF 275,000. 75, but to get 75, 275,000. 250, Ralph now 250,000. Here, but to get $200,000.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Every hair, every muscle, every contour, every pulse. In the juvenile,
Essential Quality have won.
in the Belmont,
Essential Quality has won the Belmont Stakes.
well named.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. all at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all. Go to NYRaBets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime, including a late pick 5 we have coming up at Oaklawn, which we're going to get into in a moment here. Let's set the stage for the first leg of the sequence. 6 furlong sprint, $10,000 claiming race, 4-year-olds and up. We talked about it earlier before we ran that Tampa race. The 2 Wobberjod, the 13 Bank, who draws in 2 6-year-olds who at one time look like they're going to be pretty good racehorses. They've been off for a long time now, the nosedive in class. Here's Belfast Boy.
Yeah, Belfast Boy has had a lot of chances with just the 2 wins, but does drop precipitously as well.
Wobberjod put together 3 wins in a row to start his career.
And then last time got into a heated pace duel before falling apart against much better, but now a 10-month layoff and a plummet.
Paddy O'Dini off since May of 21.
If you love untrustworthy layoff horses, the 5th at Oaklawn is for you.
10-1 here. Cost Basis at one time was a very nice horse.
No, this was a real runner for Chad Brown and Klarvich, running buyer speed figures in the 90s. That Cost Basis doesn't exist anymore as he drops the bottom or near the bottom.
Jay's Little Man, 44-1. Mikhail Michel.
I think a lot of horses would have to fail to show up for this horse to be a factor.
Bend in the River. Maybe you could say the same for.
He's the second off a 21-month layoff. Is there a condition in this race that you and I didn't notice?
Wow.
Wow, it's right.
Here's the 7 Crimson Zip. This horse is a play. 8-1. Big number here for the Carl Broberg horse.
The problem is you've got a horse that's moving up from the absolute bottom in there, and doesn't it feel like somebody's going to show up that's better?
Analyzers at 18-1. Isaac Castillo aboard.
Just the 3rd time on a dirt track was claimed at the bottom level as well.
9 horse at 30-1, right at his morning line. Backdoor Party.
Another horse with very limited experience on dirt. Did little running first time in the dirt last time.
Tillis at, here's the 10, 60-1. I thought it had an outside look.
Right, but another one coming off a 6.5-month layoff and ran in a bottom level claiming race last time out. Was ineffective.
And another one you can make somewhat of a case for if the big ones don't show up. Shackelford strong, blinkers on.
This is a trainer that's had a lot of success out of town, but so far has not been doing particularly well. The overall numbers, though, dropping are good.
And here we go, even money on Bank, who draws in from the also eligible list.
You know, I think you and I, as bettors, we look to bet against horses like this, but the way Chris Hartman's horses run at Oaklawn, considering he's in here, I don't want to take a big position against, but I tell you what, if somebody said to me, you've got to invest $50, you can either bet it to win it even money or book $50 even money, I'm booking it.
The 2 or 13 have a little bit left of what they used to do. One of those 2 should win here. It's a big if, though. Let's go to Paul LaDuca for more.
You know, you said it, Greg. Is it a big if? You know, when you look at the tote board, you know, the 2 in here, Wobberjod, should get to the front end. There is some other speed in here. In a horse at 6 years old, now dropping for 10, is that a concern? Maybe a concern. Is a house horse owned here by Louis Sella, obviously the owner here of Oaklawn Park. So maybe just trying to get a W. This horse has shown tremendous speed. But when you look at the 13, the Chris Hartman horse, it's just one of those things. I've called it before. It's kind of a Ricky Bobby type of horse. This horse is either going to finish, to me, first or last. This kind of big of a drop. This horse has like 5 or 6 races that would crush this field. Now, are we going to see that? It remains to be seen. You guys mentioned Cost Basis. I think a horse that has to be forwardly placed now at this part of his career. And can he get to the front end? I don't think so. You know, the interesting horse, I thought Backdoor Party, you know, out of the 9 in here, big long shot. I'm going to take a shot here as in under the exotics. I think the 2 or the 13, one of them will show up. I do think the 9 didn't take to the dirt at the beginning. Didn't like it getting thrown in his face and sort of like was lagging behind and then sort of picked up stride when he got outside. And actually that 6th place finish was a little bit better than looked. I'm not saying this horse can win this race, but maybe a horse that you can use underneath the 2 or the 13. I really just don't know where to go, because if the 2 or the 13 don't win this race, Greg or Andy, I mean, I agree with you. The Crimson Tide's got a shot. The 10's got a shot. There's just so many more ways to go.
If you bet the Crimson Tide, do you yell "Roll Tide" in mid-stretch?
Probably do.
That was a bad joke, right?
Another 6-year-old, by the way. This is a veteran's race, isn't it? Paul
Crimson
brought
Zip.
up the 9, by the way. It's potentially a horse who could get a piece of this backdoor party. 46-1. There's the 9. Just left your screen.
Wow. Okay. I'm not knocking any concept, any idea in here, and I'm certainly not knocking Paulie's opinions. His opinion's been great so far at this meet. But
I'll just go back to Waberjod. Look, he's been off since April. We don't know. To drop to this level, obviously, he's not what he was. But he ran some figures that no one could touch in this race, and figures that made it seem like he's going to run in some much tougher races.
I'm not gonna fight with you. If I had to bet somebody here, I'd take a shot. I'd bet the 1 Belfast Boy, but I'm not inclined to want to take a shot here.
Even money on Bank, who draws in from the also eligible list, used to be with Steve Asmussen, Chris Hartman. As you have said, seemingly doing no wrong at this meet. Francisco Arrieta rides from that outside post. Late pick 5 starts here. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call.
Strong. The last 2 are Bend in the River and Bank. They're at the post. They're off. Crimson Zip, Waberjod, Shackelford Strong, Bank in the center, Bend in the River close up, Belfast Boy also. Then Cost Basis and Tillis, followed by Analyzer, Jay's Little Man, and Patty O'Dini. The trailer is Backdoor Party, and the leader is Waberjod. Waberjod, a half length in front of Belfast Boy. Bank is running up 5 wide, and there goes Bank in the blue outside of Shackelford Strong and Crimson Zip. Top 6 are separated by 2 lengths. Cost Basis, Bend in the River, and Tillis have 5 lengths to make up. Then it's 4 lengths further back to Patty O'Dini and Analyzer. Jay's Little Man is 12 off the lead, and he's 6 in front of Backdoor Party. Here comes Bank outside of Waberjod, and the 2 favors square up at the top of the stretch. Waberjod is inside, Bank is outside, and they have opened up. Waberjod at the rail, Bank outside, 3.5, maybe more than that to Crimson Zip and Tellis. Final furlong, Bank puts a neck in front. Waberjod is tough to get by though, and he's trying to battle on, but he can't, as Bank is now in charge. He's 2.5 in front. Waberjod is a second. They come to the final 16th, and Bank is now 5 in front. Waberjod, Belfast Boy, and Tellis chase him home. Bank, yes. Bank scored by 7.5. Waberjod was second. Belfast Boy third. Tellis finished 4th.
2 best horses in the race. Turn it into a 2-horse race, and it becomes a 1-horse race. Mid-stretch, Bank just pulls away from Waberjod.
Right. You talk about the difference between trying to beat 1 sort of suspect horse and trying to beat 2. Well, in this case, you weren't going to beat either one of them because they ran 1-2 here, and Chris Hartman's horses just continue to run extremely well at this Oaklawn meet. We'll see if those things change, but somebody who had a good meet last year is having a great meet this year.
Francisco Arrieta, Chris Hartman barn. Tremendous roll in Hot Springs. Prices when we return. And we'll look down the road of the Kentucky Derby that picks back up at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Take a look at the Holy Bull Field. When we come back, on a mile and a 16th on Saturday. Stay with us.
Union Rags, proving Lane's End's tried and true stallion making formula. A formula that leads to success for our partners and our stallions. He's a leader in his sire crop by graded stakes winners and grade 1 winners. He's a commercial standout with multiple $1 million sales and a 6-figure yearling average. And with 4 full books bred at 50 and 60,000, he has even more exciting progeny in the pipeline. Union Rags, a stallion that stands above the rest.
Back on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. Thanks for spending part of your Friday with us. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale. At Alapa, we are underway in the late pick 5 sequence at Oaklawn, and Bank, as in money in, runs like it, dominates this field. Francisco Arrieta moving to the Chris Hartman barn.
Yeah, this was sort of a joke. Was wide early for position, but moved around everybody else. And it was the 2 horses that were the best horses in the race, but both suspect off layoffs and significant drop downs. But you had Chris Hartman, you had Ron McQuett, and they both delivered, but Bank was just too good.
Did either of these 2 get claimed for 10,000?
I'm sure this one got claimed, though you would think people were a little reticent to claim from Hartman, but I'm not sure. I pretty likely got claimed. Lobberjod, tougher call.
Even money start to the late pick 5. Some very interesting races, though, still to come that make this sequence more than worth playing. So if most, I would think, alive at this point. We tease going to break. Road to the Kentucky Derby, picking back up at Gulfstream on Saturday. Grade 3 Holy Bull, mile and a 16th. And road to the Derby, we were supposed to have a stop tomorrow. That's been rescheduled, that Withers, a week from Saturday. Take a look at what happens this weekend. Holy Bull, Robert B. Lewis out west, and then that Withers rescheduled, as you see there, February 11th. That grade 3 from Aqueduct. That date also includes Sam F. Davis and El Camino Real Derby out at Golden Gate.
I know that you're a big fan of the El Camino Real. I want to go to Golden Gate.
It is a fun little track.
Yeah, I've heard only nice things. Love San Francisco. It's a great city.
Meanwhile, grade 3 Holy Bull.
There's no Holy Bulls in the Holy Bull.
Cyclone Mischief. There is an Into Mischief, who was dominant last start.
That's hard to believe. An Into Mischief? He's everywhere.
90 buyer. Took a big move forward for Dale Romans. Tyler Gaffney owned. That was adding Lasix for the first time.
I would love to see Dale Romans see this horse win.
He will not be on Lasix tomorrow.
But well, that's an interesting point. I don't know, Greg. I'm not sure that there's any evidence that that's as significant as some people will tell you it is, but to each their own. I'd love to see Dale, and I think you would agree, back on the Triple Crown Trail with the original contender. The game is much more fun when Dale Romans is part of the action, and he hasn't really had that horse since Keen Ice. You know, he's had some potential horses, they haven't panned out. This horse ran a big race last time, and he's supposed to be an enormous favorite. I mean, he could be any kind of favorite here, right? I guess Rocket Can will probably be the second choice in here, but I'm just not convinced I can trust him to come back to it. If he does, he's going to win.
Once again, the horse who, as he's been 2 of the 3 starts of his career, he didn't get the lead in that second start, but he's the lone speed. He's the horse to catch. He did not look great, and he got DQ'd out of this win, by the way. Going a mile, now he's going to try and go a mile on the 16th, but you visibly see him getting leg weary here.
Yeah, I don't like this horse at all. I mean, my problem with him is he's just not fast. And I just think between Cyclone Mischief and the horse on the bottom, Rocket Can, I just have to feel like somebody's going to be faster than he is in this race. He's just not. I don't like a horse that's not improving with his figures. 6 horses close to each other at the wire.
What about the horse who's behind him, who's back here, Lord Miles, the Curlin?
I mean,
start number 3 of his career.
The best thing you can say is he's lightly raced. Safi Joseph's horses run well. He improved from his first start to his second start. He drew well on the inside. He should get good position. So I'd prefer him of the 2, especially at a better price. Though I don't really think that horse is going to be the second choice. Don't you think the horse on the outside is going to be the second choice in here?
You're talking about Rocket Can?
Yeah. The 82 buyer for Bill Mott, Bill Mott is, I mean, I'm not saying he's had a resurgence because he never went away, but he's been some monster run.
Yeah. We're going to get you back to Tampa. It was Gradia Prince in that 7th, race 8 on the main track here, 6.5 furlongs. Lower level claiming race, 6,250 claiming group. As you take a look at the 4 here, Whiskerita. Mambo Dancer, the 3. Isn't this one all by herself?
She's the lone speed, and that's the reason she's the favorite here. I don't really love her. I don't think she's that good.
8-year-old mare.
I know. I don't think she's that good. She's moving up in company. Others are dropping down. A horse like Whiskerita, but the problem with Whiskerita and Flat Out Foxy is neither one of them has any speed.
Well, she certainly does. She's won back-to-back starts. This will be a jump up, though. One of the non-winners of 1 in a year, 2 in a year.
that's the thing. She's coming out of conditional bottom-level claiming races, and she's favored. Tactically, she is the controlling speed on paper. I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't think that is possible to disagree with that.
Yeah, waters get deeper here, no question. So there she is. Could she make it 3 straight? She'll no doubt try and do it from the front end once again. 2-1 right now.
Yeah, she's the speed. I didn't love her, but she is the worst to beat.
Ron Allen Jr. for Maria Bowersock on Mambo Dancer. 8-year-old daughter of Blame. Cool story that at least she's sort of blossoming now at that advanced age. Here is Whiskerita at 5-1.
I just didn't think she was really fast enough. Special time at Century Mile.
7-time winner. She was just in an 8,000 claiming race. Here's Let's Take It Tizzy.
She's dropping.
3-2.
This one's coming out of the same classification as the 3, but isn't quite as fast early as the 3. I'm not a big fan of that stuff. Why is this horse favored?
Dixieland Dancer, next door 6-1.
Turned back last time, didn't get it done. Overall, a little slow.
And 9-1.
I'm all in.
Outside on the 7, Flat Out and Foxy on the 7.
I'm all in on Flat Out Foxy. I love a turn back. This horse has run fast enough races, cuts back. I'm worried about the lack of pace. I'll use horses like the 3 and 5 will be forward, but I'm betting Flat Out Foxy here.
And here's the one we missed earlier. Here's Auburn, who has the rail. Brian Lusk trains.
The last race was bad. The race 2 back would make the horse, maybe the horse to beat, right?
Yeah.
It's a funny race.
65 Buyer. Two back.
Can I interject something from Gulfstream? Ira Ortiz just won his 7th straight race at Gulfstream. I had heard he swept the early pick 4 or 5. He's now won 7 straight.
Incredible.
Maybe we should try to keep up on that as the afternoon goes on.
Is
he carrying the Eclipse Award with him?
He might be.
He rides around each race.
Trying to seal it up already for next year again, or this year already. This is Let's Take It Izzy, our current favorite. 2 wins the last 3 starts. That last win was for non-winners of 2 in a year. That was at 7/8 of a mile. And as you said, it was 4-5 in that field. This is probably a little bit tougher field and not going to get the lead here.
Now, even though she's running a bottom level, she could be one of the best Zevos to ever hit the racetrack. Zevo, of course, owned and bred by my friend Tom Coleman. And currently, I believe, the stable pony for Cherie DeVoe.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Pretty cool New York bred who won the Suburban. I think he won 7 straight. We'll see. I got to bet this horse, Greg. I got to bet.
Talking about the 7 in here, Flat Out and Foxy. This is the one Andy likes, turning back in distance. And sprinting, the last time sprinting for this horse, many starts ago, was back April of 2022 at Oaklawn. 4th beat 8.5 lengths in a 6-horse field.
I just love, you know me, I'm a total sucker for a turn back, and I know there isn't a ton of pace, but this horse is good enough to get it done, and I love a turn back at a little bit of a price. I have to bet a few dollars. I don't really want to take either the 3 or 5, both of them moving up into winners level races. It's not as though Flat Out Foxy hasn't run competitively recently. Turn back seemed to work a lot, so I'll take a small shot.
I mean, there's at least the chance, right, that the 5 is not going to let the 3 get totally loose,
I
right?
agree. You would think that, I mean, they're supposed to be going, right? When you're talking about a horse that's the...
And maybe, to some extent, the 1 Auburn as well, being drawn inside.
Yeah, I don't think... I mean, no, that's fair. That's fair. To be honest with you, Auburn actually has more natural speed than the 5, and you'll see. I mean, I don't know. You never know the riders are going to ride down there, right?
Here's Whiskerita, 9-2. Shortening up a half furlong out of that 7/8 race, and a bit of a drop in class, too. That was an 8,000 claiming group. 7-time winner. A lot of advanced ages in this group. 7-year-old mare here, Whiskerita. This one we already told you, an 8-year-old mare, but arguably in the form of her life.
I would say is in the form of her life, considering those races. But there's a reason when you move up and you move out of those non-winners of a race in a year, 2 races in a year, they're going to get a little tougher. Now, having said that, we're not looking at a field full of tigers. But I do think they're probably a little bit better, having looked through the fields that she was running against. These races are a little bit tougher. But I don't think we're looking at anybody that strong, and that's why maybe a horse like the 4, Whiskerita, right, who's dropping down.
Right-hand side of your screen, Oaklawn race 6, going to kick off the pick 4. Our favorite horse is back. Actually, Jonathan Kinchin's favorite horse, who unfortunately is not with us today.
Somebody pulled the plug in Austin, we heard, right?
You were on with us last time Yacht Rock ran, right? Or was that Anthony who was on?
I don't think I was.
I had never heard that term before.
Oh, I was,
Yeah.
right. That's why this horse rang a bell to me.
So
what was it again? Do you
won
remember?
that race. It's like very easy listening music.
Oh, we were talking about Kenny
Yeah.
G. That's right. Now I remember.
So
all comes back.
Off that 20 maiden claiming win, that was with Brad Cox. Now goes to Diodoro.
Yeah.
To Yacht Rock.
I guess the horse obviously could win in this race. I thought the race. My comment on the top of my page was mess. I just thought it was a big mess. You've got Tom Amoss coming in here. You know, he's got a horse that comes off a perfect trip win in a maiden race.
Is the 6 alone in front?
Yes, on paper, yes, absolutely. But is he good enough? He's dropping down out of a weaker race, but I don't know if he's good enough. But he is the lone speed.
Pick 4 starts in that 6th at Oaklawn. We'll get to the post parade coming up in a little bit. First things first, this Tampa Bay Downs 8th coming up, and the public sticking with. Let's take it Izzy here. Love to see W's on the card, right? 2 wins the last 3 starts, and this horse made 7-5 favorite.
Well, I mean, it shows these horses are in good form. And obviously when you're dealing with horses at a lower level, some of the lowest levels, you want horses in good form because they're not going to have that kind of consistency that the better horses have. But I'm going to hope that Flat Out Foxy, despite the relative lack of pace, appreciates the turn back. I mean, this horse has run a 71 buyer going six furlongs before. Here's hoping.
That's the 7 Andy's going to stick with on the cutback and distance here. We are set for the 8th. Meanwhile, the 8-year-old mare, the 3 Mambo Dancer, going to try and wire this field and win her 3rd in a row. She's won her last 2 gate to wire. Jason Beam, the call.
Dixieland Dancer and Flat Out Foxy going to be the final pair. We're just about set to kick off this late daily double. Dixieland Dancer and Samuel Marin. Flat Out Foxy, Hector Diaz Jr. to the outside draw. Flat Out Foxy goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Mambo Dancer down toward the inside. Let's Take It Izzy was out quickly. Those two are fastest through the opening 16th of a mile. Up from the outside, Flat Out and Foxy was out in 3rd. Auburn 4th toward the inside with Whiskerita, and Dixieland Dancer is the trailer, but the other dancer, Mambo Dancer, is the leader. Mambo Dancer a half length in front of Let's Take It Izzy, who stalks that one intently from 2nd. Then comes a lineup of 3, Flat Out and Foxy on the outside. Between horses, Whiskerita, Auburn down toward the fence, and Dixieland Dancer still trails. They have a half mile left to go in their journey, 23-3, so pretty modest tempo up front as Mambo Dancer leads them to the far turn, just a neck in front of Let's Take It Izzy, who dials up the pressure now. Auburn toward the inside has put a nose into 3rd. Then comes Whiskerita covering ground. Flat Out and Foxy is 5th and 3.5 off the lead, and Dixieland Dancer trails. They wind around that far turn. Mambo Dancer, pressure throughout from Let's Take It Izzy, who now sidles up alongside, and Let's Take It Izzy right up to even terms now with Mambo Dancer. These two face up to the top of the stretch. Auburn down toward the inside is 3rd. Then comes Whiskerita. Dixieland Dancer trying to get going from the back. With a furlong left to go, it's Let's Take It Izzy who takes off for home. Let's Take It Izzy to the 16th pole. Quickly 2.5, 3 in front. Mambo Dancer, Whiskerita down the outside, and Flat Out and Foxy. Let's Take It Izzy. Sammy Camacho going to win it geared down by 4 in the end. Whiskerita looked to get a nose up into the 2nd spot. 3rd is very close between Mambo Dancer and Flat Out and Foxy.
Mambo Dancer gave it a run. No match, though, for Let's Take It. Izzy Snell won 3 of her last 4.
As you suggested, she figured to put a little bit of pressure on the 3 horse, and she did, and just able to easily draw off. And a close photo with the 3 and 4 with Flat Out Foxy, my 7, getting 4th.
5-year-old mare by Zevo, who you talked about earlier, getting it done again. Back-to-back wins. 5th win of her career in 14 starts. Late pick 4 next at Oaklawn. We'll set up race 6. Yacht Rock, the even money favorite, the 2-horse for the new barn. Robertina Diodoro claiming off of Brad Cox. We'll be back.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength.
skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
If you're looking into racing partnerships, you should know they're not all the same. When you partner with Bond Racing Stables, you become a member of a growing family of racing enthusiasts, all guided by 3 generations of experience in thoroughbred breeding, training, and racing. Sharing the excitement at Saratoga and Belmont Park, where we've graced the winner's circle with winners like Giacosa, who was bred, born, and raised here at our Song Hill Farm. Get more than just a partnership. Become a member of the Bond Racing family. 3 generations of thoroughbred excellence.
Sire Sensation Gunrunner is the sire of 6 first crop Grade 1 winners.
God-eyed, and he's gonna win the hopeful Red Zulu wins the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and Cyberknife has won the Haskell. Society is gonna win the Cotillion, and Tama, they win the Bathurst, Pennsylvania Derby. Early voting comes inside and wins it. He wins the Preakness.
Horse of the Year, Gunrunner, standing at 3 chimneys.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Watching live coverage from Oaklawn and Tampa Bay Downs on America's Day at the Races on this Friday card. Good to have you with us on our FS2 coverage. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Paula Duca. As we get to race 6 here in Hot Springs. 6 furlong sprint, nominated a 2 lifetime as we look at Atkins for Bentley Combs.
Doesn't have a lot of speed in here. That could be a little bit of a deterrent, but not impossible.
Yacht Rock, here he is, 6-5, claimed off that win. He's now with Robertino Diodoro.
The problem is that last figure sticks out like a sore thumb. The other races aren't very good. Do you trust this horse to run back to that number and want a short price?
Salta, a little intriguing. He had a maiden 30 win at Keeneland in October.
I thought this horse was very interesting second off. This would be my upsetter.
Mean Tweets, 27-1.
Good name. Not very good horse, but second off.
Does drop in class. Colorfield, Tom Amoss just won at Oaklawn, as you said, with a perfect trip.
Absolute dream trip last night, but from a speed figure standpoint, ran fast enough to win and is 5-1.
That's the one who should be leading the way and drops in class. Smooth Scat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this horse is impossible, right? 4.5 furlong, first time out. You don't really know who this horse is, and he could wire the field.
Afraid of the bunny? Martin Villafranco trains.
I'd be afraid of a lot more than the bunny if I was betting this horse.
Maiden win was at Remington.
I like a dog reference, dog racing reference.
And I'm not sure. The 5Bs at 20-1. Carl DeVille takes over training duties.
Who knows what you do with a horse coming in out of Delta at 5 furlong races. Big fig last time. I guess could this horse put some pressure on Smooth Scat potentially?
Yeah, that's the one, right? Yeah. Who's going to try and put some heat on the 6 in here at a big price. We'll see how it plays out. Pick 4 coming up here at Oaklawn on this Friday card. You can play it with Naira Bets. Match 200, that code for new members. As you look at Atkins on your screen, 4-1. Bentley Combs, Nick Juarez will be coming from off the pace.
You surprised that horse is only 4-1 in here?
You thought it should be
higher?
Really?
I didn't look at morning lines, but
yeah. Well, let's look at Yacht Rock. As you said, graduated last time out, did so with a figure he's never really come close to earning before.
And I know he was claimed by Robertino Diodoro, but he was also in Brad Cox's barn. Off the claim in dirt sprints off maiden wins, 3 for 17 this barn, 2 for 10 at Oaklawn with a low ROI. Listen, I'm not going to be surprised if this horse wins, but I don't know. I mean, you look at this horse's prior races, they're not particularly good. Maybe this horse moved up for Brad Cox. And the big drop down.
6-5 favorite now with Diodoro, who's been winning a ton of races as usual here in Hot Springs. Paulie, what do you think with the favorite?
Well, I don't think the horse is a really good favorite. Now, can he win this race? Most definitely. But, 2 starts back when he was under the Norm Cassie care, this horse had a a giant lead in the stretch and got run down by Atkins, the one horse in here. You know, his last race, I thought Talamo handled him a little bit better. Maybe this horse didn't want to be on the front end and sort of just like stalked a little bit, and he did finish up well. And he makes a great point. The figure was very, very high. Now, you're going against winners for the first time, and you're going against horses who already beat you. When I look at these other horses in here, the 1 and the 3 have the same MO, right? They both won for 30, got basically raised up in class, and the 1 finished a little bit better than the 3 in the same race against Dixie Fury. I think the 3 set up unbelievable. This has been Kim Poole's MO this whole meet. He's been, you know, having horses that he's giving them a race around the racetrack to get him fit and come rolling. I think the 3, if he can maybe show a little bit more speed, I don't think he'll be rolling from way off the pace, because you guys make a great point about the 6 Smooth Cat right now at 8-1, because, you know, this is a horse that if this horse gets away, you know, you don't really know what the rest of these horses, if they want to pass horses or not, whether Yacht Rock really wants to go towards the lead or not. So I was between the 1 and 3 in here. I ended up with Salta. I wouldn't, you know, argue if the 1 wins this race, but I can't take, I guess you would call it maybe like Kenny G or Yanni with Yacht Rock.
Coming with the Yanni. I thought he was going to go with Kiss on My List by Hall & Oates for the Yacht Rock reference. Good one, Paulie.
Wow. Hall & Oates. I'm going to tell you, and you will be shocked by this, the only time I've ever seen Hall & Oates live, playing with the Grateful Dead, Madison Square Garden, at a Rainforest benefit. Bet you didn't see that coming.
When was this?
I think 1988, the Rainforest benefit, the last show of the 9 show run at the Garden.
I think we all have a few
random
Yacht Rock bands we've seen live.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never. I'm too.
You just mentioned.
Well, I
Hall &
saw
Oates.
that they played with the Dead. I mean, I know. You know, I went to the
3-2 favorite on
Suzanne
Yacht
Vega
Rock.
also played at that show.
We'll see if he can do it again. Yeah, tough call here with this horse to say that is he going to maybe just got good and can move forward off that.
100%. And it's Diodoro. Having said that, 3-2 is a pretty uninviting price to take to find that out. And I would rather try to make some money with somebody at a better price. I bet a little bit on the 3 Salta and a box 3-6, hoping the 6 can try to wire the field. They would be my 2. Boy, as I said it about Atkins, I couldn't have been any more wrong. I mean, not only is the horse is coming down and dropping close to Yacht Rock.
Well, people see he beat, as Paulie mentioned, he beat Yacht Rock.
Right.
And then he went into just a much tougher spot.
And he is a clear-cut second choice in doubles. And in fact, Tom Amoss is the 3rd choice in doubles.
I'm with you. I thought the 3, though, the fact that he won at Keeneland, did so in dominating fashion, and then was just in against Too Tough. I mean, that was the same race. You know, Atkins was in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that was the kind of interesting horse. I think if you go back to that Keeneland effort, and frankly, even the race before it wasn't that bad at Churchill Downs against better horses. I thought this horse could make a lot of sense, and as we talked about with Kim Poole, having a terrific meet.
When he won, though, at Keeneland, got the lead. Concerned with the presence of the 6, presence of the 8, makes life harder for him?
Well, that's a fair point. He was most effective on the lead, and it's hard to believe with a 6 in here he's going to be on the lead. You just don't really
some
know.
Ability, though, early on, right? Coming off the
Right.
pace.
He didn't win, but he didn't run that badly in there. I think the fact that Maggie is sort of approaching the set, and she is Rocco Bowen's biggest fan, so I think that could help this horse's chances.
Is that true? She leads.
She's a big Rocco Bowen fan. I've heard a lot of "Come on, Rocco" roots from Maggie. She is. She's laughing. She knows.
Did not know this. Learned something new. She's going to be joining the show in just moments. Andy's work coming to a conclusion shortly.
Maggie has been dying to discuss the 9th at Tampa.
Okay.
I could sense when I saw her earlier that she really has some hidden jewels to share about the 9th at Tampa. I might be kidding.
We have an extra chair. We just make it a 3-person set.
Tomorrow, 3 people. We don't want to spoil it for tomorrow's big show.
Okay. I look forward to that.
That's going to be fun. No, I am. Have you and Maggie and I ever been on the set together?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have either. That's going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time with that. I agree. That should be great. We got some good race to talk about. Tampa's got some nice stakes. A couple of turns. There's a Have to Mind That Bird. There's a Have to Mind That Bird making his debut in the 6th. There's a Have to Diversify making his debut in the 8th. Some kind of cool horses actually.
That'll be fun. We hope you join us tomorrow.
3 to 6:30 tomorrow.
So 9-5 favorite remains Yacht Rock in here. Christian Torres, Diodoro. But some other ways to go. I thought this pick 5 had the potential, and already, look, we had a very short price favorite kick it off. Bank showed up.
But I'm going to say something to you. You put some, somewhere in the $100 range in there. There's no way you leaned on, smaller tickets leaned on the 13. But as soon as you bust it up a little bit and you get like a $15 horse or something wins, so the 3 wins here, for instance. The people who are live primarily are people who use 3 maybe in the first leg. I don't think that's an even money. Is that a fair way to look at it? You know what I mean? I think smaller tickets lean the 13, but I think the bigger tickets probably wanted some coverage.
Okay.
That's just my way of thinking. It's hard to believe that horse was even money in the pick 5. Maybe I'm wrong.
I would have thought, I thought it was hard to separate with the 2 and 13.
So you think
I would have had
most
to use
people just
both.
use both of them? Yeah, you may be right.
There's Salta moving in. We're both intrigued by Kim Poole. He's had a ton of long shots win at this meet. This is not one of those. Salta's getting played in here off that Keeneland win 2 back. We're set for the start of the pick 4 coming up. Yacht Rock trying to go back-to-back for the new barn. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
Post. They're off. Terrible start. Mean Tweets. Good start. Yacht Rock and the 5 Bs with Smooth Scat and Salta between horses. These 4 raised out, and the 5 Bs is quickest. Atkins and Afraid of the Bunny are next. Then Colorfield, and the bad start has Mean Tweets at the back of the pack. From the outside to the rail, it is the 5 Bs who takes charge into the far turn, and he is winging along 4 lengths in front of Yacht Rock, Smooth Scat, and Salta, and Yacht and Salta between horses. Then comes Atkins. He's 5th with about 6 to make up and a length in front of Afraid of the Bunny. At the back of the pack are Colorfield and Mean Tweets. The 5 Bs continues to roll, but now Yacht Rock is catching with each and every stride, and we could have a new leader at the top of the stretch. The 5 Bs only a half length as Yacht Rock is moving to challenge. Colorfield has moved up into 3rd in the orange cap, but he is 5 lengths behind the new leader, and that leader's name is Yacht Rock. Yacht Rock, a length and a half in front of the 5 Bs in 2nd. Atkins has moved up in the center, and here comes Atkins, and he's closing with every stride. Atkins got a chance to run down Yacht Rock. Yacht Rock reaches, but Atkins is rolling alongside and rolling right on by. Atkins, Mean Tweets might get 2nd. Atkins in front. Atkins won by 2. Mean Tweets a great 2nd. It's close for 3rd between Yacht Rock and Colorfield.
I'm going to steal it because you just said it. It's been a steady diet of beating Yacht Rock for Atkins. He does it to him again.
Yeah, I mean, boy, I didn't see it, and the public was right to be betting this horse. He got a very good trip and a very nice ride from Nick Juarez, and Nick Juarez has done really well down there. He's doing extremely well for our friend Gary Stevens. But, I mean, he just blew his horse away. It looked for a while, sort of when Yacht Rock kind of pulled out in the backstretch, like, oh, he's just going to win. But then you could see coming the stretch, here came the whole field, and this horse just swallowed him up. A lot of diet references for that.
5-2 on Atkins for the win, so slight upset. Yacht Rock ran okay, though, back for the new barn.
I agree, he ran fine, but as we talked about, he was no great shakes. But listen, I didn't like Atkins, so I can't take any credit there.
Nick Juarez, Bentley Combs team up for the victory in the 6 pick 4 underway. So long to Andy.
It's been short but sweet, but we're going to have a lot of time together tomorrow, the 3 of us.
Yeah, Maggie Wolfedale stepping in after a timeout, and the 3 of us will be on the set tomorrow, Saturday. As you said, terrific card from Tampa Bay.
It really is. Keisha will be down at Tampa. Of course, Paul will be at Oaklawn. So sort of the team is together. It'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We hope you join us tomorrow, but we got a lot of show left this afternoon, including race 9, Tampa Bay 5 furlong turf sprint. Again, Maggie joining me after a short timeout, and we still have the feature coming up from Oaklawn as well. Stay with us.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, and the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs.
He's so impressive today, the others didn't even have a prayer. Catholic Boy rolls in the run. Happy Travers.
Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Celebrating its 40th anniversary in 2023, the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation has long been saving former racehorses from possible neglect, abuse, or slaughter. The TRF herd of nearly 450 horses who are not able to go on to second careers as sport horses are given lifelong sanctuary at one of the many facilities sponsored by the TRF across the country. But the TRF isn't only helping equines have a second chance at life. They are helping incarcerated individuals as well. The innovative and pioneering Second Chances program allows incarcerated men and women the opportunity to build life skills while participating in a vocational program as they provide supervised care to retired racehorses.
I talk to them, I speak to them about things that I don't speak to people about in there. I can feel like they actually relate to me, and the same second chance that they're given, I feel like I'm getting.
I didn't know it was going to be such an emotional time, and you really do bond with the animals, and they look for you to be there for them.
It's more love out here. It's more peace, tranquility, solace, anything you want to call it, the epitome of peace to me.
There are currently 8 TRF Second Chances programs at prisons in 6 different states. Graduates of the program receive certification based upon their level of expertise and have gone on to careers as farriers, vet assistants, and caretakers. The Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, helping thoroughbreds who help people.
Such a great program that we talk about a lot on America's Day at the Races. For more information, you could go to trfinc.org. And Maggie, of course, you're very close with the program.
Yeah, lots of thanks to Ernie Munich for helping me put that together, as well as Patty Wolf, and forever indebted to the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. As I always say, thoroughbreds can do anything. They're that athletic, but some just do not have the ability anymore, and it's great that the TRF is there to catch them.
Plenty of usefulness and life to live once their careers are over on the racetrack, as we're seeing with all these programs around the country. Got a lot more live action coming up. Tampa Bay Downs. We're going to get to race 9 here. 5 furlong turf sprint coming up, and feature still at Oaklawn ahead. We go to Oldsmar, Florida. Allowance optional claiming field here as we look at the 1.
Yeah, this is Solid Tune, who returns back to the turf. Last time we saw her in a turf sprint, it was in a tougher spot, 2 back, where she was a big price, an allowance race at Keeneland. She just kind of lacked a late kick that day, though she finished second in a dirt sprint last time out. St. Iris Girl would come back to win as well.
5-time winner on the turf here. Proper Minner is a 7-year-old mare.
She's all right. Look, she kind of shows up. She's a bit of a fringe player. She was 4th, though, at Gulfstream for 16.
2 turf starts for American Bastet has not hit the board.
No, they have not been good. Looking elsewhere.
Jim's Bronze Star, big price.
And should be. The turf sprints leave you little to be excited about, and recent form does the same.
7 of 9 career wins have come on the grass for Tracy Ann's Legacy.
It's a great record, but Joe Orsino is not good with this move. He's only 1 for 21 off a 6-month-plus layoff with turf sprinters.
Speaking of 1 for 21, that's the turf record for Band Sweetheart.
Yeah, 1 for 29 overall. She sometimes runs a fast enough race, though her recent form doesn't look great.
Speed on dirt for the 8. Turf debut coming up. Will translate.
Does it translate? There have been more synthetic runners, not many to try the turf, though.
April Mist was just 2nd sprinting on the grass.
Her turf record in 3 starts has been very good. The horse that beat her last time is a nice runner.
She is the one to beat, no question. And then Linguistic for Tim Ham, turf debut.
Don't love flatters on the turf, but the Dams fooled a 5-star Bunt, who was decent on the turf, a New York bred sprinting. And this one does have some early speed, too, to keep her in the mix.
Back at Oaklawn, picture time. Again, Atkins getting the better of Yacht Rock. 2 wins, 5 careers. Starts Bentley Combs, Nick Juarez.
As Andy said before he left, Nick Juarez having a really good meet. I really like the way he's been riding. It's like the Monmouth riding school has translated well for Nick, and that sometimes, you get a lot of riders that just want to send from Monmouth, but Nick can be aggressive when it counts, but he's learned to be very adaptable when the race or the horse calls for it, and we saw just that here with Adkins sitting from well off the pace to run down the early leaders and really proving best, second choice at 5-2.
$7 winner, 2 legs in to this pick 5. Got a long way to go, obviously, but pretty formful to this point. And we'll get back to the 7th in a little bit. That's a maiden special weight at a mile and 16th. Right now, Tampa. And we're going to show you April Mist in action, the 9-5 current favorite. In that January 11th race. Gosh, 2023 still looks weird on the screen.
Yeah, as she is just going to be, she's a white-faced filly, rallying from the outside where we see Poseidon's Passion just so much better. I mean, she's a filly that has gone 10 for 28 on the turf and has won nearly $250,000 on it. So she gets class relief here. There's no doubt about it. And if you just isolate those 3 turf sprints, she's just been consistent. She's won 2 of 3 of them. And she just looks like a very, very logical horse in here, though. To be fair, there's some horses that have run maybe a little bit faster than her at times, but she just feels the most consistent.
To her outside, Linguistic. It's going to be the first time on the lawn for her, as we talked about, for this 4-year-old filly by Flatter. She's been off since October, and this was the last time we saw her. Actually took the lead from a stalking position in the stretch. She'd wind up second.
Yeah, she would here. And like I said, there is a little bit of turf pedigree on the bottom, though I question, Greg, how good is that race that she comes out of? Royal Engagement, she would come back to win, but she would only win posting a 62 buyer in the end. It seemed as though there was a little bit of hang in her as well, not being able to seal the deal in that last race, and now we haven't seen her since early October.
All right, and turf debut as well. What are we going to get? We will find out. 6-1 Linguistic here in the 9th coming up at Tampa.
Yeah, looking forward to the 9th at Tampa. Also looking forward to wishing my second daughter, Willow, a happy 3rd birthday today. So hopefully Daddy has on the racing. For Willow to see the shout out, Greg.
3 and
Grace.
Yeah.
Is 6.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
We just had a hugely successful 2nd birthday party for William.
Oh, wow.
10 kids showed up.
Oh, that's epic.
Didn't think we'd be able to handle it, but we got through it. It was so much fun. Yeah, we had a blast.
I'm not allowing, we're keeping it family celebration.
Okay.
She is obsessed with the double-decker LIRR trains. And so I'm going the double-decker to the city, Mommy. And that's what she wants to do. We're going to see the Encanto interactive house, and that's going to be the celebration on Tuesday.
Nice. So happy birthday.
And happy birthday to William, too.
Yeah, belated. Thank you. Yeah. We'll get back to Tampa in this 9th here coming up. I'm with you. Wow, not favored right now.
I did think the one was pretty interesting. Okay. Solid
April
Tune.
Miss, I thought it could be tough in here.
Oh, totally. But Solid Tune in her turf sprints, yeah, she's been a little of the inconsistent sort, though. Maybe you can put a line to that Kentucky Downs form. As I always say, what happens at Kentucky Downs can stay there. And she was just facing so much better. And the fact that she ran so well on the dirt in her last start indicates to me, now we'll see, she has been away for, a little over 2 months. But it says to me that she was rounding out her 3-year-old campaign, getting better. And there's every reason to believe that she could take just another step forward, too, as she's a newly turned 4-year-old for Whit Beckman, who's a former assistant to Todd Pletcher, Chad Brown. He trained for himself previously in Saudi Arabia, and he's been out on his own for about a year now.
Going back and forth between the 1 and the 9. Back to favoritism with the 9. So those two taking all the attention on the board. Outside of those two, who did you think was maybe interesting to throw in?
I mean, certainly Tracy Ann's Legacy, as you mentioned, but I just did not love that stat for Joe Orsino, whom, when I think Joe Orsino, I often think turf sprint. So I was a little surprised at how poor the numbers reflect how he does with them coming off of extended layoffs. We haven't seen this one since August. Look, it's nearly, it's right on the cusp of that 6-month layoff, but if she can remember who she was at one point, she's the major player here. We'll just see if she can overcome the layoff.
Probably in front. We don't know what we're going to get from the 8 because a lot of times quick dirt horses aren't always quick on turf. And that's Curl Talk, the 8. We'll see if this one can put any pressure on the 6. And, you know, the other one, I guess, with a little bit of speed, American Bastet, who I would give no chance to, the 3. First time out on the grass, actually showed some quickness.
Oh, no, she has speed, as you mentioned, but it's kind of hard to endorse her here. But look, that was going back, you know, a while ago to 2021, and arguably they were somewhat tougher fields that she was playing in, albeit at Colonial and Monmouth. So, yeah, she's a little into going out for Michelle Hemingway, though she was with Mike Stinneman and Miguel Vieira before that. So she's okay. She does have that speed, but don't you think that number 9, April Mist, as she has pretty much held firm as your 9-5 favorite, blinkers going on, that they're going to keep her, I mean, right up in the mix. The only time we didn't see her on the lead was 2 back when it was a really fast pace, and she was still able to get up and win.
I mean, that was a quick race she's coming out of, and she was not that far out of it, no question. Jose Ferrer, Chad Stewart, April Mist, the favorite, and Jason Beam, the call. Here's race 9 from Tampa, 5-furlong sprint on the turf.
Couple of wins. Jim's Bronze Star, April Mist, Linguistic going to be the final 3. April Mist was an impressive debut winner back in the summer, the Summer Festival of Racing. Linguistic, Pablo Morales to the outside. Pablo with the winner on today's program. Linguistic coming up. And Linguistic goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. April Mist away a step slow. Tracy Ann's Legacy and Curl Talk, those two out quickly down toward the inside. Solid Tune out in 3rd is Linguistic, up from the outside is 4th. Proper Manners 5th in and amongst horses. Then comes American Bastet. April Mist trying to recover after the slow beginning is now 7th. Band Sweetheart is 8th and Jim's Bronze Star is 9th in the trailer. Curl Talk the leader. As they go toward that turn, it's Curl Talk in front by just over a length. Linguistic, April Mist continues to rush up on the outside, is all the way up now to 3rd. Then comes Tracy Ann's Legacy, who's back 4th, but only a length and a half off the leader. It's a break of 2 more then. Back to Proper Manners, trying to get going. Band Sweetheart is dropping right out of it there with Solid Tune as they wind around the far turn. Down on the inside, Curl Talk and narrow leader. Linguistic, April Mist up on the far outside. Tracy Ann's Legacy going to look for room down along the fence. Proper Manners coming between horses. A final furlong left to go. Linguistic coming up after the lead. Tracy Ann's Sweetheart dives toward the inside. Back to 3rd is Curl Talk. Tracy Ann's Legacy and Linguistic. These are the 2 for the final 50 yards. Photo finish. Tracy Ann's Legacy on the inside might have got it. Linguistic was right there. It's 3 more back to Proper Manners.
Looks like the win machine does it one more time here. If that is a win for the 6th, 8th victory on the turf, 10th overall.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I mean, when you've racked up 10 wins in your career, now that pushes her earnings over $300,000. 7-year-old mare, chalk it up to experience today. She sat the pocket beneath Sammy Camacho Jr. and was ready. I mean, Joe Orsino had her ready. Now he's 1 for 22 over the past 5 years, or 2 for 22, excuse me, over the past 5 years with these types of layoffs and turf sprints. But she just sat the right kind of trip. And as for the favorite, Greg, April Mist, when you apply blinkers to a horse for the first time, you have to get it approved at the gate, because a lot of times this will happen. Not to say that she wasn't approved, but sometimes they'll react negatively because then they can't necessarily see the gates opening as clearly or the other horses running. And so she got off to a tardy start, and April Mist just lost all chance at the beginning.
Linguistic, first time in the grass, running a big one too, in the mix here in this photo. This is how close it was at the wire, and that is that 10 Linguistic on the outside. I think at future on the grass. For that 4-year-old filly, it looks like Tracy Ann's Legacy, though, your winner. Prices when we come back. We'll get into the 7th at Oaklawn when we return. We'll take a look ahead to some of the stakes action Saturday at Tampa Bay Downs as well. Stay with us.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front. It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the Woodward.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
We take pride in what we do.
For me, it's more of a passion than actual work. I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
Clocker.
Assistant starter.
Trainer.
ESL teacher. I love what I do.
There's so many jobs that come together every day. It's a collective effort that really makes this ball go round.
We are New York Racing.
I couldn't imagine working anywhere else.
For me, riding horses in the morning is the best thing I can do.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
Like my dream come true.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races with a special guest.
Is that a crocodile or an alligator, Greg?
The star of Oldsmar.
I thought it had to be an alligator because, Acacia says it's a crocodile.
She's going to be live on site. I'm going to trust her.
All right.
Maybe you should get an interview for us.
Exactly. Sir, are you a crocodile or an alligator?
Gotta be a segment at least. Winner, Tracy Ann's Legacy does it again and showing some heart and grit in this one, fighting it out with the 10 Linguistic.
Yeah, well, she's lucky that Linguistic can be a little bit of a hanger, too. But she got the right trip here. Sammy Camacho just biding his time, waiting for that pocket to open, as it sometimes does there on the Tampa Bay turf course. And look, Linguistic, yeah, she put up a fight. I'll give her credit, and she did translate nicely to the turf. As I said, had a little bit of turf on the bottom side there. And it looks like she'll have a nice little winter down at Tampa in these turf sprints. But Tracy Ann's Legacy, she proved to be the class and the most accomplished of the field and returns $15. Wow.
Yeah, and again, nothing from the favorite. You talked about the beginning, lost a lot of ground, too, around that turn. Wide.
Very wide, yep.
Yeah. Endeavor, great stakes action we have coming up from Tampa Bay Downs on Saturday. We hope you join us. The Endeavor, Grade 3, it's a mile and 16th on the turf. That's race 7. It'll kick off the pick 4. And we're going to see Chad Brown.
He's won, 4 of the last 11 Endeavors that they've run?
Todd Pletcher go head-to-head in this race. Market segmentation, 2 wins, 3 career starts, and December 31st, a win with a 90 buyer speed figure.
I feel like you don't often see horses winning with this type of trip at Gulfstream unless they are so much the best. I mean, she was just wide throughout, sitting off the pace, preempted the lead around the turn with a fistful of horse. Irad Ortiz in the Iron Suit has had a sensational day. He went 7 in a row at Gulfstream Park today.
Amazing.
I don't know if that's ever been accomplished before, but market segmentation will pick up a new, different rider, but I really liked, especially coming in off the layoff. We haven't seen her race much, but that was very impressive, the way she won last time.
Going to deal with, or maybe the other way around, Scottish Star going to try deal with market segmentation. Outside post, Castellano will ride for Pletcher and had a win at Saratoga this past summer.
Greg, I wonder if she's a horse that may need Lasix. As we saw her last time, she just ran like a horse that, may have needed the race, though she did win in this race here off of even longer layoff than what she was coming in off of last time at Gulfstream Park. But she is a bit of a heavier mare that it just feels like the Lasix might be her friend. And look, she's capable of running a fast enough race to at least be on par with market segmentation. We'll see, though, what kind of trip she pulls. She might be the one going this way, where market segmentation might be going this way.
Yeah, seems like that could be the case. We will find out tomorrow. Grade 3 Endeavor. Again, that's the 7th on the card. We will have live coverage for you on America's Day at the races. As we head back to Oaklawn right now, race 7, maiden special weight. It is a mile and a 16th here coming up. And Doro Street, Robertino, Diodoro, 2 sprints, stretching out, and should love the extra ground. So we'd like to take a look at the 5 here. Army Kitten for Tom Amos.
Yeah, Army Kitten's going to be stretching out in distance as well. Just couldn't keep pace last time. Stayed on the inside, just hinted that the fact that she wanted longer, though the pedigree might not suggest that overall.
Had to deal with Classy Bridget. It was a really nice one for Chris Hartman. Here's the 1 Gun Running Girl, Steve Asmussen Gun Runner debuting.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit more of a sprint pedigree, and Steve is not great with his debuters going long, 3-year-olds and up, only 5 for 62.
Unstable Princess went by for William Martin. Here's Molly of Stratford for Asmussen.
Yeah, Marilyn Brad Dam have to Nick's go. She wasn't, the dam herself wasn't much. This is the first foal to run, daughter of Tisnow.
Norm Cassie sends out Tough Legacy. Blinkers come off.
She lost all chance at the start last time. She fell on her face, spotted the field at least 3 lengths, was far back. I would give her another look at a big price.
Riley Mott, equipment change on Peace Cruiser.
Yeah, blinkers coming off of this one as well. I thought she may have been getting out. She definitely needs to run longer, so I like the stretch back out in distance.
Divinely Bolt for Chris Hartman ran a good figure that puts this one in the mix here.
Yeah, first time for the barn, and it looks like, too, another one that hinted at wanting a bit more ground last time out.
Here's the favorite for Diodoro.
I don't get this one getting more ground. Pedigree says yes, and she is the projected speed.
No guilt. Dwayne Lucas. Good figure last start at a mile.
Yeah, feels to be improving. You know, last time out, 2 back was wired by Bolt for Allison, a common race for many of these.
And then Adiva, Mike Pewich, Tyler Bays outside.
I mean, we're going to hope that the return to dirt and the Lasix improve this one. I didn't really get this one's chances.
3 minutes to post coming up. So Doro Street, Medaglia Doro, Philly. For Robertino Diodoro, when you do stretch out, a lot of times you like to see that foundation, that base of those 2 sprints before you make that stretch out. And here's a look in that muddy track at Oaklawn. A 2-length lead in the stretch and gets run down. What do you make of that?
Right. Now we're going from 5.5 to a mile and a 16th.
Pretty good filly that ran her down, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Stakes winner.
Yes, Classy Bridget would come back to win quite nicely. And Doro Street did all the dirty work last time, and she looks, at least projects here, to be the isolated front runner if she can dole out that speed. She's a daughter of Medaglia Doro out of a Street Boss mare who has produced horses that can handle route distances. So at least the pedigree's there, as you mentioned, the foundation's there. Can she harness the speed beneath Christian Torres?
Well, let's go to Paul for more here on the 7th.
Yeah, another tough race here at Oaklawn Park, and you know, this is a race that you have a lot of young fillies in here, and whether they're going to improve around 2 turns, some have shown that they have. Now, when you start with the favorite here, Doro Street, like you guys said, she got beat by a nice little filly in Classy Bridge, and she had the lead most way around the racetrack, 22 and change. She's very fast. I mean, she got left the time before that and went 21 and change, and was able to stay up on the pace. I don't think she's going to be able to go that fast, obviously, going around 2 turns. They're going to have to harness that. And Christian Torres, obviously the leading rider here right now, I would think is going to try to. Now, you just never know if she's going to get the distance in here. I thought Peace Cruiser, the 6, Martin Garcia, the blinkers do come off this filly by Violence, but another horse that has shown some speed. You know, last time this horse broke out from the 10 post, like, actually severely, and Christian Torres actually took a hold and decided not to send and sort of laid back and made a little bit of a run, you know, was behind some other horses in there too as well. When I look at some of the others in here, I look at Divinely Bolt, you know, got a race over the racetrack, wasn't really bet for a Chris Hartman horse for the first time over the racetrack. I think might improve. These Shelby racing horses have been coming in here for Chris and have been firing. But I like the 9. No Guilt. I thought the blinkers helped this horse. This horse had more speed last time out. Was bet to 3-1. So obviously the works in the morning were way better with the blinkers going on. I think can get a decent place. Gabriel Saez will be aboard and get a decent pace to run into. I'm just a little leery of the 8 getting the distance, and hopefully the 9 and the coach is the one that will be in the winner's circle.
We shall see. D. Wayne, with No Guilt, 7-1. Here's a look at the favorite, though. Doro Street, still the 2-1 choice. Christian Torres aboard.
Yeah, we do see the front wraps do go back on her today, stretching out in distance. I looked up a stat for Robertino Diodoro, who, look, is hitting at nearly 30% for the meet, was at 21% for last year. He's only 6 for 43, so 14% with his maidens trying a route of ground for the first time with a negative ROI. So it just indicates that they're consistently overbet and underachieving for trying to get more ground. It feels like, you want a horse, an older horse, Fortino, going longer. I, like Paul, found there was reasons to look elsewhere. Am I going to be shocked when she is able to kind of prance around on an easy lead and take this field gate to wire? No. But the one thing that is consistent at Oaklawn is riders are aggressive. So she's going to have to, I would think she's going to have to go. Because as Paul said, No Guilt found a little bit more pace last time. You have Army Kitten. Look, she wasn't quick at all going shorter, but who's to say she can't show a bit more speed, especially for Tom Amoss in her second start.
Meanwhile, I know it's never easy to win going long on dirt first time out. 46-1 on a Steve Asmussen runner debuting. Molly Stratford.
Other one's 5-1 though. The daughter of Gun Runner, they paid $225,000 for Gun Running Girl. The stats aren't there for Steve to win going long first time out. The Dam never won. There was a sibling who is kind of a decent all-around runner, whether it was dirt or turf or short or long. But there's not much, other than the fact that she is taking some play. I think 5-1's a fair price on her, indicating that there could be some ability.
It might just be that it's Steve Asmussen. I would love to know the last time Steve Asmussen was 45-1. That was the point in bringing up the 3. It's amazing to me, even if there's obviously not a lot to like about her
on the
turf
in the morning. Somewhere. I find that Steve's horses don't often get bet on the turf. But he doesn't have to worry about that at Oaklawn, so here we are. Ooh, 10 acting up a little bit there on the track as they circle a Diva. I thought I liked the warm-up from Peace Cruiser, a filly that I have seen before in her first 2 starts for Riley's dad. And it looked as though my complaint kind of about her was moving from her first to second start, where she was a heavy favorite, especially in that second start. She just didn't strengthen up. And by watching her, it looks as though she has a bit, and it just felt as though she didn't necessarily love the wet track last time, or 2 back going longer. She's going to have to deal with it again, though. That's kind of my problem with her, but I do like the stretch back out in distance.
She has run some of the biggest figures of anybody in this race, and now the equipment change. We'll see if Riley Mott can get her past that first win of her career here. 8-1. I thought a somewhat generous price. I mean, those races in New York, figures-wise, she was one of the horses to beat in this race.
Yeah, and that was, she was doing that as a mid-season 2-year-old. Finishing second behind Raging Sea. I wonder if something may have gone a little awry in that second start, though she ran well enough. I mean, she's only beaten a nose, but it's not like Binsky has really gone on to do much running. Like I said, my long shot in here is number 4, Tough Legacy. She really lost all chance last time out and was stuck behind a pace that held together and made up some ground sneakily. So if she can get away cleanly with the blinkers coming off, I think she could be right there, and Norm Cassie is having one heck of an Oaklawn Park meeting.
Paulie mentioned No Guilt for the coach, Dwayne Lucas. We'll see if she can improve off a very good effort. That was at a mile at Oaklawn last time out. Favorite, though, still Doro Street. The 8 stretching out for the first time after 2 sprints. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the 7th.
Diva. They're at the post. They're off. Doro Street broke beautifully, goes to the front from Priest Cruiser and Molly of Stratford, who's asked for speed. And there goes Molly of Stratford to put her head in front. Divinely Bolt is next, then Army Kitten, and to the outside a Diva. Unstable Princess and No Guilt are next, then Tough Legacy, and the early trailer is Gun Running Girl. To the backstretch with Molly of Stratford and Doro Street, and these two set off in a battle. Doro Street is outside, Molly of Stratford inside, and they are winging along 5 lengths in front of Peace Cruiser. A Diva sits 4th for Tyler Bays and about 6 from the front, a length in front of Army Kitten and Divinely Bolt. Another 3 back to No Guilt, who has about 9 to make up, and she's 2 in front of Unstable Princess and Tough Legacy. And then another 9 lengths last to Gun Running Girl as they go into the far turn, and Doro Street has had enough of Molly of Stratford. Doro Street going to clear off going into the far turn. She builds up a 3-length lead. Divinely Bolt and Peace Cruiser move as a team, 2nd and 3rd. Molly of Stratford is gone. No Guilt has 5 lengths to make up. Splitting horses between horses is Army Kitten. Meanwhile, the leader is Doro Street. Doro Street, a length and 3/4 in front of Divinely Bolt in 2nd. Here's No Guilt in the center, and No Guilt has just run up into 2nd. She's got a 1/4 mile to make up 3 lengths. From the back of the pack, Tough Legacy also in with a good chance. Doro Street, No Guilt right alongside. Tough Legacy threatens to run a good one. Divinely Bolt and Unstable Princess in the center is rolling in the center. Tough Legacy, No Guilt, Unstable Princess, not today. Doro Street, Tough Legacy now takes the lead. Tough Legacy 3 in front. Unstable Princess and No Guilt. Tough Legacy wins, and wins big. 5 lengths. Unstable Princess was 2nd, No Guilt 3rd. Army Kitten finished 4th.
Tough Legacy, Norm Cassie, 1 race experiment with blinkers. They came off today, and David Cabrera aboard for the win.
Yeah, I like this one, Greg. She blew the brake, as I said. She blew the brake again, but it didn't matter having the foundation, and it just feels like everything that Norm Cassie is sending out right now is running and running well, and you get rewarded with a 15-to-1 shot.
Nice call here. Well done. Cabrera,
With
Cassie,
those-
Mary Lou Whitney Stables.
Yeah, those iconic silks. Always, oh
On
God.
the Schuylerville with Pretty Birdie on opening day a couple summers ago in those
Who
silks.
seems to be back on track
Yeah.
yet again. So, yeah, it's just very special to see these silks campaigned still till this day. And I mean, just all the Saratoga memories flooding back of Mary Lou.
Can we talk for a minute? We keep talking about Robertino Diodoro as we should, and Chris Hartman. The hottest trainer at this meet is Norm Cassie.
Absolutely. With a limited number of starters. I mean, that's why maybe his name isn't thrown out there as much as Tino and Chris, but it just feels like he brought the select group and the right group. And I mean, he even said it when Paul interviewed him after his stake, that they were in quarantine, so he was a little bit behind the 8 ball, but it feels like he's played his cards right and has brought over ready horses, has bided his time. In other words.
Limited starters, but unbelievable role for Norm Cassie in Hot Springs. Tough Legacy keeps it going in the silks of Mary Lou Whitney Stables. Well, the price is for you, 15-to-1 when we come back, and we'll have the story of the Ed Brown Society celebrating the long history of African Americans in this equine industry and trying to create that future as well. We'll be back.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
We're back at America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. Valley Sports SoCal and San Diego. Got about 10 more minutes with the two of them. It's brought to you in part by Naira Bets, where you can play it all. Go to NairaBets.com, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Tough Legacy, 7th at Oaklawn from off the pace. Norm Cassie and those Mary Lou Whitney Stable Silks with David Cabrera aboard the maiden win.
Yeah, she did get a little bit more pace to run into today. You know, as we often see at Oaklawn, riders are aggressive, and the first-time starter was aggressive, Molly at Stratford, which really softened up your favorite Doro Street here as she would fade in the stretch. And midway through the turn, we saw Tough Legacy picking her way through horses and really powered away from this field in the end. Number 2, Unstable Princess, would rally for place honors in front of No Guilt.
Yeah, D-Wayne Lucas, No Guilt, checking in 3rd. Gabriel Sides, your winner, though. Tough Legacy graduates, breaks her maiden. 32.80. Finally have a price in this late pick 5 after a formful first couple of legs of the sequence.
Yeah, we'll see how many people are ripping up tickets.
How about that exacta?
Yeah, that's
15
a nice
to
one.
1 over 23 to 1.
310.40 for $2.
All right, so 7th in the books, race 8. Feature coming up, 6 furlongs, state bred allowance optional claiming field. And Kaboom Baby, Unbridled Twister, the 2, the 3. They're going to take plenty of support in here. Paulie has one too that he had talked about earlier. He's going to talk more about when we go back out to him. I know that he likes.
Price?
It's a bit of a price, yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Keep the prices rolling.
Tomorrow, Tampa Bay Downs coverage. We talked about a couple of stakes races on the card. We will have for you, including the Grade 3 Tampa Bay on the turf at 1 mile and 1/16. We have an undefeated runner coming in for Arnaud de la Cour.
Now, these stakes are great, Greg, but I just really want to find out if it's an alligator or crocodile. No, I'm kidding. Yes, we do have an undefeated runner coming in for Arnaud as he is sending out Chez Pierre. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, but off of a long layoff.
Yeah, hasn't raced since April of last year.
Like Field Pass, he beat and has run 7 times since then.
Did win first time out. Has one off the bench on several occasions.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not an issue.
No, I hear you.
But it makes you take pause for sure.
No, you know, you like to see horses having a little bit more racing consistency, but there's no doubt about the talent of this guy here. I mean, he just powered away from this field in the Henry Clark so easily. So he's an exciting runner, and you know, there's reason to believe that these connections could capture both of the stake races.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. As they will also send out another horse in the Endeavor and Panama Red, another import.
Yeah, 10-month layoff was the state's debut for Chez Pierre. 96 buyer in a victory. That was at Tampa, by the way. We know what Emmanuel wants to do.
Doesn't get to do it though.
Can he get to the lead and keep doing his thing for Tom Pletcher?
I think there's a faster horse and Win From Within for Jorge Delgado to his inside. That's going to give him a whole bunch of trouble because at least in his 6 starts so far, Emmanuel's proven that he might be a need the lead type. Because when he didn't get it last time, he was like, oh, I'm done. Bye.
Meanwhile, Verbal for Chad Brown looked like the next great turf horse coming out of his barn, and then the Transylvania happened.
Yes, exactly. The Transylvania happened. Still not a terrible performance, but yet again, another horse that has some trouble getting on or staying on the track. But we often see it with these Chad Brown horses. It's a luxury of having so many talented runners that you can give them all the time that they need because there's always somebody to fill the spot, to fill the race. And
maybe
that's what we're seeing.
Maybe you should forgive the Transylvania. Look, got beat. He's so good, though, at bringing horses off the bench. But he went to the bench off that performance. So something obviously went wrong. We're probably going to see a better effort from Verbal if he's right tomorrow.
Yeah, and it feels like that and it sounds like he has been training very well in preparation for this, training at Payson Park, where it feels as though Chad has been keeping some of his better horses for them to return for these winter campaigns down in Florida.
See if he can get, he's obviously precocious, but get a really good flincher on turf.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, right?
That we had for a little bit. Yeah. Verbal. Sure to take plenty of attention. Again, we're going to have those races for you tomorrow. Check your local listings. I believe we kick off at 3 Eastern time on Saturday. Confirmed. Yep. Friday feature coming up from Oaklawn when we return. We will have the post parade when we come back. Wow, richness, the 7. We talked about much earlier on the program. My old favorite right now. She's won 3 of the last 4. See if she can keep it going.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Flightline is in full flight. Flightline turns it on at the top of the stretch, and he's in cruise control.
And Flightline takes off.
Take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear.
World-class racehorse, world-class performance at a world championship event.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Silver State is the son of Heartspun out of an Empire Maker mare named Supreme. He was bred by Stone Street. It was a $450,000 yearling. He's a really good-looking horse. He was a winner of the Grade 1 Met Mile last year at Belmont, defeating Horse of the Year Nick Sco. He reeled off 6 wins in a row, which is almost unheard of in today's horse racing world, but won the Oaklawn Park Handicap. Best win was in the Grade 1 Met Mile at Belmont Park. And he is breeding his first book of mares currently this spring.
It is Silver State at the rail. Mischievous Alex on the outside. It is Silver State who has the lead. Mischievous Alex, by my standards, out in the middle of the track. They're coming down for the finish in the Hillendale Met Mile, and it is Silver State to make it 6 in a row.
When I saw him in the paddock Met Mile day was when he really kind of sold me on his looks, and I'd kind of been, yeah, he's a nice horse. And when I saw him in the paddock, it was like, okay, he'll work. And then when he won, it was like, it really worked. And being by Heartspun, the family he has, made it that much more exciting. And the fact he'd been 6 for 6 up to, through there, it was a good idea. And once he got to the farm, he's been very popular.
I had a pretty large wager on him to win the Met Mile because I thought 5-1. I mean, I knew Nick Sco was in the race. He's obviously a very good horse, but I just thought Silver State it looked like he was on a roll, and it looked like he was going to continue, which he did.
He beat Nick Sco, which everybody knows who Nick Sco is, and that was even that much more exciting and, another feather in his cap.
The Met Mile has a rich history of making stallions, and we hope that Silver State will continue that trend.
The day we started showing him, he came in here and looked like $1 million, and everybody that came to see him fell in love with him. Well, I don't know what they expected, but once he got in here, I mean, he probably came in and got off the truck and looked as well as any horse we've had come in a long time.
You know, he's such a good-looking horse. He's about 16'3". Everyone that has come to look at him has just loved his physique and physical. He's a gorgeous horse. He's dappled out right now, looks tremendous. He's got a great book of mares that we're excited about, and he's going to have a really big chance of making it as a stallion.
Silver State put together a tremendous win streak, including that Met Mile. Look at his first crop. Actually had 5 mares carrying foals from that first crop go through the Keeneland ring during that January Horses of All Ages sale.
Oh, wow. I mean, and as Bernie and Walker just said in that piece, Silver State has to be hands down top 10, if not top 5 best looking horses I've ever seen stroll through a NYRA, or I saw him first at Oaklawn Paddock. Just excellent physical confirmation, and hopefully he passes that along to his foals. Certainly some leggy ones there that we see in those foal pictures.
He started quietly winning races, and no one really was paying attention. All of a sudden, he stepped up and won the Met Mile. It's an incredible run he had. 8th at Oaklawn. Got the post parade coming up for this 6-furlong sprint. Let's say goodbye to those watching on SoCal San Diego. Still on FS2. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Those still with us here on FS2, the feature Oaklawn coming up. Greg Wolf, Maggie Wolfendale. We're going to get out live to Paula Duca here in just a moment. Board, we're going to show it to you. There it is right now. It reflects a wide open race.
Yeah, it really is a wide open race. I couldn't really feel that confident in taking anybody in here. Greg, look, the horse who has kind of been your favorite here and there throughout isn't now. 7-2 on number 7, Richness. Comes in, again, you never know how to interpret these voided claims, but ran really well as the favorite, albeit in that Arkansas bred 10 claimer. Beat a horse in Truly a Rocket that would come back and improve her buyer, running a 70, but everybody behind them, I don't know how good they were, but they put a lot of separation between them and the rest of the field, so that's always a good sign. But can you trust her? I mean, she could be the speed in here too. There really isn't an apparent all-out front runner here. Unbridled Twister could do that as well, as she's posted more towards the inside. And I thought, ran fairly well in her last start. So she's your current favorite, and I feel like she's the one that's, of these, the most trustworthy.
So 5-2, Unbridled Twister. And this is in a matchup with Too Pretty.
I see several
long
horses.
Time ago.
Well,
last year in the Down the Dusty Road.
Yeah, down the Dusty Road here. But you'll see several horses coming out of that Summer Shoes race in here back on December 30th as well, including these 2 horses in Unbridled Twister and Too Pretty. Too Pretty last time, I thought she was just too far back in that Summer Shoes race, and it was just dominated towards the front end. And really, Too Pretty was the one who made up the most ground, plus she was coming in off a bit of a layoff, so there's every reason to believe that she could round back into form.
Yeah, she's the 11, Too Pretty. 6-1 on the outside in here, 2-time winner. Both those wins at Oaklawn as they come onto the track. Again, we're going to check in with Paulie in just a moment. Post-parade first, though. And Kaboom Baby taking plenty of support as well, who somewhat similar to Richness, won off a lengthy, or ran, I shouldn't say won, ran very well off a lengthy layoff, close to, at least in the ballpark of figures she'd been running before.
Yeah, and she has, the overall fastest form of many of these in here. So Kaboom Baby, just watching that last start, Greg, she kind of ranged up a contention, and then she was just like, I'm spent. She looked like though she just needed the race, and so I think she could round back into form. Like I said, I think the 2 and the 3 in here, Kaboom Baby and Bridal Twister, are the ones that have the back class that are coming in here, with Kaboom Baby probably needing that last race, and Bridal Twister, this is her 3rd race off of the layoff, so maybe she's even more primed and ready to run her best 3rd off the bench.
All right, we're going to go through the field here in a moment. We're going to begin with a big long shot to kick things off in the post-parade. Lady Astrid, Kelsey Haar, Robert Klein, and a bit tough to endorse.
I would say so myself. Has faced many of these in the past and has been nowhere near, I shouldn't say nowhere near sniffing distance, but once upon a time she did beat Kaboom Baby, but those days seem long gone.
Here is Kaboom Baby. Luis Quinones.
Yeah, I think she moved forward from that start last time out. We'll have to do it again over a wet surface where she is winless.
We showed you that stake race with Unbridled Twister, and that was probably your best moment. I mean, even though she just missed, speed figure-wise.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I definitely don't mind her last effort. She could be the speed in here, too.
Run Fearless coming off a win.
Look good on the racetrack there. Very slow figure, though. We'll need to improve to be top 3 or 4.
Pattern Bet off a layoff, won in the mud to break her maiden.
Wouldn't you love to have Pattern Bet, owner at least?
5 seconds in a row to start her career.
Over 150,000, she's only won once.
Heated argument, 28-1.
Yeah, she could be another pace factor in here, but not likely to be sticking around at the end.
Here's Richness. We started talking about the race with this one.
The thing is yeah, she you know, these state breds, they kind of trade blows. You know, they take turns beating each other. I'm a little dubious off of the voided claim against Lesser.
Hot Springs Bling went by at a big price. I thought the 9 intriguing second off the layoff.
Why?
Some figures you go back to. I mean, it didn't run all that bad at all against Kaboom Baby with a troubled trip the last time we saw her before she went to the bench.
Maybe. I gave a look to her, but then I just couldn't talk myself into it.
My Dam's Attitude, another long shot with an outside look to maybe get a piece of it. And then here's Too Pretty at 6-1.
Too Pretty should run better than she did last time out. She was just too far back, I think. Now, maybe she is a horse that may want to go longer. That's probably the biggest argument against her. But still, I would be willing to give her, at the right price, 6-1 seems a little bit low, but at the right price, I would give her a look.
3 minutes to post feature on this Friday card from Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's the promo code for new members to use. Match 200 at NYRABets.com. Get signed up, started, and play along. Paulie, your thoughts on the feature coming up?
Well, I thought this was a good race, a very, very good Arkansas bred race with some nice horses in here because, you know, a lot of these horses have run against Summer Shoes and Connie K, and those are really two nice mares in here. Summer Shoes almost beat Open Company the other day. It was just short, and Connie K is very, very fast. So you try to measure some of these mares and fillies up to those. And when you look at the 2 and the 3 in here, Unbridled Twister, I get it. Can this horse get to the lead? Yeah, I think that she can and maybe can control things up front. But there also is other pace in here, and I think that's why the 2 is getting played. If you're new to us here on Fox Sports 2, the 2 runs his races upside down. He comes from way out of it where the 3 is going to come or go to the front end. So we'll see what happens. Greg, I told you this earlier in the day. I love the 11 Too Pretty in here. And the reason why is when I go back to these races, and I understand this horse is 1 for 12 the last 2 years and not a win type. But if you look 3 back, this horse had tremendous amount of traffic. Then he went to Churchill Downs. Daniel Pites took this mare and, you know, did not run well against Honey Run, Pistol, XT Zena. That was actually a pretty salty field at Churchill Downs. Came back. I thought Maggie hit the nail right on the head. Was a little bit sluggish out of the gate and made up a little bit of ground. I think with a better break, and this is a horse that has been as quick as Connie K and has been as quick as Summer Shoes in some spots. So I think with the outside draw, Francisco Arrieta, I thought Too Pretty was the play, at least for me, a long shot for the day. I do think the 3 is going to be tough to beat in here, and the 2 from off the pace. I had this race 11-3-2.
Paulie's been excited about this one. So Too Pretty, the 11-7-1 second off about a 6-month layoff.
I mean, he's right. She has been in some tough spots and has not disgraced herself. My kind of somewhat argument against that is it just feels that the better races have come going longer. And she kind of hinted at that last time. So we'll see. But look, 7-1 is not a bad price at all. We do see the 5. I wonder, the 5 is a little bit intriguing. Could she just finally be putting it all together? She's going to have to get faster based on speed figures.
That's the filly we had mentioned. There she is behind the two.
Good.
5 consecutive seconds to start her career. Finally breaks her maiden off, a 7-month layoff last time out in the muddy track today. To me, the figure was she's going to have to move forward off that performance against this field. I'm surprised she's at 5-1. I thought she'd be higher.
Yeah, that's probably the least enticing thing about her is her price right now. If she was a bigger price, I'd be willing to take a little shot with her. I mean, she looks great on the track. Caveat, Ron Moquette's horses do tend to look very good. In the flesh, she kind of is that Dwayne Lucas line where feed them well, bring them over looking as best as they possibly can. But still, you always wonder if they take a while to break through and then they finally do. Is the proverbial light bulb going off? Are they able to just put it all together now? I was kind of my thought with her.
Might move forward off that. We'll see. Probably going to need to against this group, but it's within the realm of possibility. As we look at the 9 here, Issy Missy, I made a bit of a case for this one. This horse too was right there with Too Pretty, was right there with the Mary Rose, who would be 1-5 against this field. But that's when you're going back, 2 years now?
Yeah. Oh, I just wish she showed a little bit in her last start. But as you said, it was off of a 1.5+ plus layoff. So maybe, I don't know. I
mean, you go back to that time, and in terms of starts, it was only a few starts ago. But she would have been one of the favorites in here. Long time off. She didn't show a lot coming back. I'm just willing to forgive her that with the inside post, coming back, muddy track. And she has handled an off track before.
And she's 28-1, so who am I to talk you off a 28-1 shot?
Meanwhile, there's one Polly likes, 7-1, Too Pretty.
I get it. I totally get it. Class-wise, she stacks up quite nicely. And although watching that race 3 back in the Arkansas bred stake, it says traffic steadied. I didn't see that much significant trouble to say that she should have been virtually eased or, beaten 20 plus lengths.
It was a tough group, though, that day.
It was a tough group, but Kaboom Baby finished 3rd. And, I can completely forgive her for the 50, and then she has a layoff because those are pretty good horses running for the 50 at Churchill there. Again, 8-1, so you're getting paid.
So let's go back to richness for a minute. 7 is 9-2 starting to become a little attractive here,
right? Because she's going to be forward, and maybe she is in good form despite the voided claim, and at least Trillia Rocket complimented her. I just wish we knew why these voided claims took place.
She beat Unbridled Twister. She has that on the resume. But I guess it's between her and Unbridled Twister as to who's going to be in front.
Exactly. And you even have to throw in heated argument a little bit for argument's sake because she can be forward as well. So it feels like the horse that's going to be able to sit right off of them could be the one that is the winner here. And as Paul said, that could be the 11 if she decides to break second off the bench. Last time out, I just felt as though it was ring rush. She didn't get away, and she was just completely out-sprinted. Kaboom Baby, she's your 3-1 second choice. Most of her races are run with her being far out of it. And I don't know if that necessarily wins this race.
Real quick, I know they're loading up. If you're going to play this late double, did you think Tivy or Asmussen in the nightcap? I thought there's some interesting prices, but that horse can take a ton of attention.
I don't like that horse.
You do not?
Nope.
Okay.
Can win, but I'd be definitely willing to look elsewhere.
I thought the 10 Woody's Choice intriguing. The 5 faced Lugan Knight first time out.
Right? Woody's Choice comes out of the livest race of any of them.
Good luck if you go after this double. Here we go with a feature. Vic Stauffer, the 8th from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Too Pretty in the center broke well. So did Unbridled Twister. Richness is in the mix. Run Fearless is next, and At the Rail, Lady Astrid. Then comes Hissy Missy, followed by Madame's Attitude. Now Hot Springs Bling drops back. The two at the back of the pack are Kaboom Baby and Heated Argument. Unbridled Twister and Richness into the far turn. Unbridled Twister a neck in front. Richness is second, 3/4 of a length to Too Pretty, 3 deep in third. At the Rail, Pattern Bet is fourth, and she's about 2 from the front and 2.5 in front of Kaboom Baby, who moves nicely into fifth. Madame's Attitude and Run Fearless are next, then Heated Arguments, 6 off the lead. Lady Astrid and Hissy Missy. The trailer is Hot Springs Bling, and the leader is Unbridled Twister. Unbridled Twister, Too Pretty, 3 deep, and Richness between horses. These three at the top of the stretch with Unbridled Twister a half length in front. Too Pretty comes calling to challenge to the outside, and Kaboom Baby, and she is on the move. Here comes Kaboom Baby with solid strides. Kaboom Baby outside of Unbridled Twister. Too Pretty not today, back to third. Pattern Bet at the rail. Unbridled Twister or Kaboom Baby, these two to the wire. Unbridled Twister, Kaboom Baby, Unbridled Twister in front. Unbridled Twister beat Kaboom Baby. Pattern Bet was third, Richness fourth.
3-2-5 here in the feature. Unbridled Twister. Al Cates, Ricardo Santana Jr., third win of her career.
She was just so much the best. She put away all early pursuers. Then she held off the late charge from Kaboom Baby. A much-deserved victory for Al Cates, teaming up with Ricardo Santana and not taking anything away from her, displaying that early natural speed that she has.
For a minute, looked like Kaboom Baby
Momentum.
had that outside momentum, did not materialize. Unbridled Twister goes off your 2-1 favorite and gets the first win since February of last year.
Hey, she likes February, I guess. But this was the right spot for her.
It's a great month.
It is a great month. It's a short Black History Month that we will bring you the Ed Brown.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that coming up.
Feature, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Also my birthday.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. When is your birthday?
No, it's later in the month. 8th at Oakland.
Don't leave us hanging.
It's on the 19th.
All right, there you go.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll have the prices from the 8th. We still have the nightcap coming up as well. And we'll have the story of that Ed Brown Society, as Maggie mentioned, creating the next generation of African Americans in this sport. Stay with us. We'll be back with more America's Day at the Races right after this.
It's Rock Your World in command. Medina Spirit making no progress. And it's going to be Rock Your World to take them all the way in the Santa Anita Derby. He's undefeated and wins by 4.
We are back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Thanks for being with us on this Friday afternoon. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, for the love of the race. Visit americasbestracing.net today. Ricardo Santana Jr. for Al Cates, Unbridled Twister. Definitely the best of this bunch. 5-year-old mare, third win of her career.
She's a cute Arabian head. I like her. This is a very, very good effort, as she just put away the entire field, and everybody took a run at her, and nobody could get by her.
Boom Baby, pattern bet, second, third. Pick 3 for 50 cents, just over $100. Let's go to Paulie with a winning rider.
Yeah, I'm with winning rider here, Ricardo Santana. He said he's put his boots on a little too tight, but you were telling me you really like this Arkansas bred mare.
Well, thank you to the owners and Mr. Alkay. Give it to me the opportunity, that filly. I've been riding that filly since last year. She always shot hard, and we always get beat for best filly in the race, and I have a lot of confidence in her today. She liked the mud, and she fighting to the end.
Was there the strategy to get to the front end? I know you could see the two coming from behind, but you thought you had enough left, Ricardo?
Yeah, my filly, as soon as she passing the lead, she just started pull up. That's why I get out to she can see the horse outside. And I have a lot of confidence in my filly. I know she was going to fight him back. That's why I don't hit it much. I just do some hand ride, and then I'm so proud of that filly.
Well, congratulations. You got the favorite in the last race for Steve Asmussen. Are you live?
When I ride for the Steve, I'm always live.
Congratulations, Ricardo. Ricardo going to look for the double here at the end of the Oaklawn card. He is right now ascending up that jockey standings, guys.
Yeah, as we all expect, and yeah, he put it best. When he's riding for Steve, he usually is live. Tivy, probably going to be the favorite off the bench in the nightcap.
Yeah, as you said, it probably will in here. Though it's kind of nice to see the band back together. They haven't had quite as much success as they've had in years past. Though, we'll see. It feels like maybe Ricardo's kind of gotten his rhythm back, too.
Yeah, Steve Asmussen using a whole litany of riders.
True.
His son, Isaac Castillo. Yeah, several others. Tivy, the one that Ricardo will be on for Steve, 6-5 favorite, has had 2 starts, 2 third-place finishes, was 4-5 of the debut, but has been off since June of last year. We'll see if that outside post, a lot of changes. Blinkers on, getting Lasix as well on Tivy, who's 6-5 right now. Seeing African-American riders in the recent past like Kevin Krieger, Kendrick Carmouche show up at the Kentucky Derby has been a step in the right direction. But the Ed Brown Society is hoping to do more, not only celebrating the rich history of African Americans in this sport, but trying to create the next generation as well.
Anything that had to do with racing really started with the direct contributions of African Americans. First Kentucky Derby winner was ridden and trained by African Americans. They were more than just the riders. They were the trainers, they were the owners. So around the time that we started the Ed Brown Society, the timing was sort of right. The industry as a whole has been willing to have those conversations.
So while I'm watching the Derby, I see someone who looks like me, who's owning a Derby horse and is about to run in one of the most prestigious races in the world. So once I saw that, I had to reach out, and that was when I decided that this is something that I think could be a path to help me get exposure into the industry.
So we go partner with schools. We find the students who are interested in doing something ag or equine related, and we partner them up with the particular track.
So the classes I'm taking right now are equine health and diseases, as well as thoroughbred investments, thoroughbred law. So really trying to get a collective overview of the industry operations and trying to learn as much as I can about how to be productive and contribute to this industry.
My grandfather owned a horse that ran in the Kentucky Derby, but due to the racial injustice at the time, he was unable to be listed as an owner or to attend the Kentucky Derby. So for Necker Island to bring that back home a generation later was a surreal moment. It's a moment that will be hard to top, but hopefully we can get back and bring other African Americans to the Kentucky Derby as well.
We look up one day, 5 or 10 years from now, a lot of our graduates out of the Ed Brown Society are working at horse tracks in significant roles, and they are in turn hiring other African American and minority interns to come work under their employment. I think that we'll look at that as a success.
For more information, you could go to edbrownsociety.org. In that piece, saw Greg Harbert, Ray Daniels, and they are living the dream stable. Actually, we're going to talk about it. We're going to have another show tomorrow, that Bayakoa. They actually won it last year with Ms. Bigley.
Yeah, Miss Bigley would go on to win many races for them as well. I mean, she earned over $750,000, and I mean, they've campaigned other stakes winners. I mean, 7 Cents comes to mind, as we saw Necker Island in that piece. So Greg, I've actually known for a while, but definitely has a keen eye for a horse, and they kind of go after a horse, whether it's claiming them or buying them, and have had a lot of success. So I think they are really kind of putting themselves on the map through the horses, and it really shows what an impact African Americans from the start of horse racing in this country have had on the industry.
Yeah, and trying to get them in, not just, seeing riders, but in every aspect of the sport, as you said, behind the scenes, bloodstock agents, business professionals, equine veterans, all kinds of things. Great program. As for Ed Brown, they named it after someone who won a Belmont Stakes as a jockey, Kentucky Derby as a trainer. It's remarkable.
Absolutely remarkable. I mean, he was one of the wealthiest men within the industry. I think at one point in time he was the wealthiest man in Kentucky, and partnered a lot with with Isaac Murphy, who was such an influential rider at the turn of the century. So it was good to see him get his due and inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1984 as well.
Celebrating Black History Month, and Ed Brown Society doing a lot of good, celebrating a rich history of African Americans in this sport. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. We still have the nightcap coming up from Oaklawn when we return. We'll get to that with the post parade ahead in a little bit. We talked about that Bayakoa. It was Ms. Bigley last year. Now we got a filly trying to make it 3 consecutive stakes wins in a row in this year's edition. That's Lovely Ride. You saw a Mo Ray for Brad Cox. We'll have a preview coming up.
An obligatory goes by the ball. And Winston.
Here comes Malathaat. Here comes Clairiere on the outside. They're coming to the finish, and it's going to be Clairiere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. Cody's Wish on the outside. Cody's Wish with the upset in the Fargo. Malathaat grabs the lead in deep stretch, and Malathaat has won the Personal Ensign Stakes.
Curlin, the classic sire.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions, and offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Beyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Bayakoa, who comes for home now,
entering the final furlong, and Gorgeous with a bold late run toward the rail. Bayakoa is put to a fierce drive, trying to hold on by 2. Gorgeous trying to catch her, running out of ground. Bayakoa is got it. Bayakoa wins.
Oh, the sensational Bayakoa in the 1989 Breeders' Cup Distaff. She won the 1989 Apple Blossom that year.
Wow, she's she was such a special filly mare. I always remember her kind of being the queen of the West Coast, but boy, she could bring it east, that's for sure, as she won this Breeders' Cup Distaff, Gulfstream Park, and the great Lafitte Pinkai Jr. board as well.
Champion older female, back-to-back years, 18 wins, 31 career starts.
She's incredible.
And including all of it, 21 victories and a multimillionaire. ABR Race of the Week honoring the great Bayakoa, grade 3, mile 16th in the Distaff division. And Lovely Ride, gonna try and make it 3 in a row coming up. We're gonna start with a Moray though, who had been with Todd Pletcher, moves to Brad Cox. And was it sort of by accident they say, oh, she is a dirt horse? Because they were trying to get her on the turf, washed off, and she runs the biggest figure of her life.
That is true. But
it was a wet track, though.
It was a wet track. She always, to me, too, it's kind of funny, Greg, because having looked at her for a while and the majority of her races here in New York, she's always looked like a wet track horse to me. So maybe, they can do little rain dance, though it looks as though it's gonna drying out way there at Oaklawn. Now, Free Like a Girl, who she beat here, and she beat her soundly, don't get me wrong. She's a Louisiana bred. She would come back to win a Louisiana bred stake with only a 76 buyer. They paid a lot for her. She sold at the Fasig-Tipton sale this past November for $400,000 to her current owners in Hunter Valley Farm. And maybe they're hoping for a return on investment, though I'm sure it's more for breeding purposes.
One of the neat stories of this meet has been this filly, or mare, I should say, Lovely Ride. Back-to-back stakes wins. She'll try and make it 3 in a row in the Bayakoa, try and get a graded stakes win. And yeah, she's probably going to get more heat tomorrow, but she was supposed to get more heat last time, and she still got the lead all by herself.
Right? Are they going to let her do that? Now she's going to have to do it from the outside. I mean, as of now, it's just a 7-horse field, so it's not that big of a task, but you want to talk about the hot horse. This is it. She is just in raging form right now. And, a horse that she's beaten many of these that she's going to face here again. Moray obviously is going to be her main threat.
Outside
Which I don't
post.
think she is.
Outside post, do you think, they still, obviously, her success has been going to the front, getting the lead. Does she have to be in the lead to win?
No, I don't really think she does, Greg.
Okay.
I think she can sit a stalking trip and still be very effective.
It's race 9, tomorrow's card. We're going to have live coverage for you. Grade 3 Bayakoa. Can Lovely Ride keep it going for Robertino Diodoro? We will find out. Look forward to it. We still have the nightcap coming up on today's card. We're both, again, obviously she could win. She's probably the horse to beat, the horse to beat, 3-year-old Tivy. We're both going in a different direction, though, in this finale.
Well, my problem is that, well, first of all, the bothered taken out stretch, I didn't see that at all. He was just second or third best, excuse me. He wasn't standing that well when he broke, and so maybe he is a horse that has, God, he looks like a tank in the paddock. Looking at him, he does apply those shortcut cheater blinkers. Yeah, like we both said, he can win. He gets Lasix now. He ran that 60 as a very early 2-year-old, so there's definitely room for improvement. But I thought this was a very interesting field, and to just default and take 6-5 on him seems a bit of a cop-out.
All right, we're going to take a look at him in the second start of his career. 2 third-place finishes. Here's the beginning.
I noticed right before they sprung the latch, he took like a step forward, and really horses, to get a clean break, you want them back on their hind end, kind of their bum against those doors so they can propel themselves forward. He was kind of standing on his front end a bit, so it led to a slower break, led for him to be bumped, and then he makes a good rally here. Do you see any trouble? I don't see any trouble.
I don't see much.
I don't see much. So to me, the break didn't help, but I don't think he was ever going to go by these two horses.
But if you can figure out those issues from the start, could be a different situation. Here's the 5. Briefly, we'll get back to him in a minute. That's the horse who faced Lugan Knight first time out.
Well, here's the horse that comes Woody's choice, number 10. I know he didn't do that much running, but the top 3 horses looked to be really nice.
Top 3 all came back to win. He did. I thought he showed some brief, at least tactical speed in that race. Took some money, and it was the debut. Lot to like. I thought about the 10 at 9-1.
Absolutely. I mean, he is getting played too for Isaac Castillo, and with a race that the pace, the early front riders looks a bit murky. Why couldn't he have a bit more speed and a bit more professionalism and be up on the engine?
Meanwhile, backside Buzz, we're going to show you the last time out. 75 maiden claiming race. It was at Oaklawn. And took the lead in the stretch and then just loses the duel to Missing Curfew.
I mean, he never switches leads. He's obviously lugging in a bit here. He's supposed to go by this horse, right? I mean, this is not a pretty effort at all. And he's had more chances than anybody. But at the end of the day, it's his fastest race to date. But do you really want a horse that does that?
Yeah. Pass.
Hard pass.
5-1. And you have the outside position, too. You finish in that situation usually. And that was the 9th start of his career. Right. So at what point do you say, well, he's going to take that big move forward? That was maybe the move forward. And it might not be good enough in this spot.
Right. And who's to say this isn't a tougher field?
Yeah.
I think it is.
First timer for Ron Moquette, the 8 we'll get a look at as well, who is seemingly some sharp drills. We don't know how he was asked to do it, but 6-1 right now, and that's on a Midnight Storm.
Joe Sharp sends out a first-time starter. It's not taking much money at all. I haven't seen many Shaman Ghosts in my day. I saw a lot of him, but as a racehorse, but he's never had a first-time out older winner. He hasn't done very well with his young horses either.
And here's a look at the 6. So 10-1 on Winnemac Avenue, blinkers on.
Yeah, turning back in distance. Looks as though the front wraps do go on for this horse. Catches yet again another wet track.
Horse we just showed you in that neck defeat. We didn't love that race. Should have finished the deal.
Christian Torres does climb aboard for the first time. He is your meet leading rider. Maybe he makes a bit of difference. I don't know.
Here's the Joe Sharp first timer.
Yeah, not taking much money. This one kind of hints at the fact that, I don't know, maybe he wants to go a little bit further than this.
Horse faced a horse who's on the Triple Crown Trail, Lugan Knight, first time out running for cash.
Right, and last time he did improve a little bit after not looking as though he was handling the wet track, though he gets a wet one again.
Bolt Doro could move forward. Start number 2 for Greg Compton. Here's the 8, the first timer for Moquette.
Yeah, this one is out of an unraced dam. First foal to run. The second dam was unraced too. There's no pedigree to really go on. 6-1 on the board. Taking some nibbles.
April Fool's Andy did not get bet in the debut. Had a little bit of trouble, though, first time out.
I agree. He was hustled from the onslaught. He kind of responded, then he had to be checked, and then he just looked to be tired and needing that first race.
Coming out of an ultra-key race, Woody's choice, and took money in that race in the debut.
Yeah, he's very, very intriguing in here, Greg. And I like the fact, as you pointed out, he showed some early tactical speed in what was a fast pace, too.
And there's Santana Jr. looking for the late double with Asmussen here. Blinkers on, Lasix for the 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, Tybee, he looks like a tank. He also looks a little bit heavy there on the racetrack, too, Greg. I think there's reasons to maybe look elsewhere at a horse, at horses that are going to offer a bit more value.
7-5 favorite from that outside post. You can play this race, of course, with NYRA Bets. Go to nyrabets.com, get signed up, started. Match 200, code to use for new members. 3 minutes to post coming up. Let's go to Paulie. What do you think of the favorite here for Asmussen and Santana?
Well, a tough read, a real tough read. And I can understand where Maggie is a little, concerned a little bit. The one thing I will say is Steve Asmussen is the kind of guy that's been, I don't know, behind the scenes here a little bit, laying back in the paddock. He's right behind me on the rail, and he was intently watching the 11 warm up. And Maggie's completely right. He's an absolute tank. So he is built like a sprinter. You know, you're wondering if, you know, the blinkers on and everything going, if he's going to try to clear this field or head to the front end. I would think that's going to be their objective with Ricardo aboard. We'll see what happens, but obviously taking a lot of money on the tote board. The 8 Blues Admiral, I hate to tell out secrets, but I was walking back getting a cup of coffee, and Mr. Moquette came by and said, hey, by the way, if my horse can take to this racetrack, being by Midnight Storm, who's only a 3% first out winner, he goes, my horse can run. I mean, and you can see there's some bullet drills in there, some hidden drills that go back to with the 8 Blues Admiral. So he's just worried about, you know, the racetrack, whether, you know, this son of Midnight Storm is going to be able to handle it as well. I'm in agreement with you guys on Woody's choice. I was surprised in the 20-1 morning line because that race was absolutely loaded. And this horse was 5-1 in that race and 3 next out winners. So, you know, that would be my long shot in here. So I think the 11 will be tough to beat. I think the 8, who looked tremendous on the racetrack, and a little tidbit from Ron. I like the 11, 8, 10 here, messing around with a couple other horses. If I was going to throw one long shot in here, you know, you guys always talk about the 3 and Joe Sharp. When Joe Sharp's horses take money, they usually run, so I'd kind of stay away. It's a 5. I mean, it's no secret, Greg. You hit the nail on the head. This horse was behind Lugan Knight. Nice runner for Michael McCarthy. Obviously went up to Aqueduct and won a big race. Outside look for me, but I'm going to stick with the favorite in here, and I think the Moquette Firster is going to run big.
All right, Paulie, thanks. You know, back to the 5 for just a minute. If you take away that last race and just have that debut against Lugan Knight, I mean, he ran good against Lugan Knight.
Yeah.
At almost 70-1, I would think he'd be one of the top choices in this race. Maybe the sloppy track next time out. Obviously went backwards there with a wide trip against another good horse named Spurrier. No 2 off track are the same. That was sloppy that day. We're muddy today. I think he's worth another shot at 18-1.
I agree with you. And sometimes, you know, he was kind of running with his head up in the air, climbing, and he actually did make up ground. You don't really see that in the running line per se, but he did make up some ground, which I appreciated. And I just think that, as you mentioned, maybe this is more on the drying out side. There isn't quite as much lying water, not quite as much splash, if you will. And the blinkers going on, absolutely. I'd feel much more confident if it was a fast track, don't get me wrong, but there's reason to be forgiving.
Meanwhile, I mean, that's just 3-2, incredibly short price, and it's Tivy.
Well, I just thought if it was Tivy, it'd be 2 V's, but I don't know. Travis Stone called him Tivy.
Okay, certainly could win. Blinkers on, Lasix off the bench, but this duo, they're dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, and as Paul said, if he stands in the gate properly today, which he doesn't really have much of an excuse not to, as he's going to be the last one in, he should break, and he should be quick away from there. He's on his toes, the shortcut blinkers going on. But it's not like those races have really materialized in producing nice horses.
Yeah.
You know, you see it with the horse who is inside with Woody's Choice. Those look to be legit horses, and they're just more recent, so you feel as though you have a much keener ability to kind of quantify those races and how they stack up. So it just felt like you knew he was going to be a short price coming in here, and you respect, but it's just hard to take that type of price on a horse that's coming back off such a long layoff. You don't know if what he faced was really, or you do know that what he faced really isn't that good. And there are a lot of horses in here with some more upside.
Yeah, and a barn too. If he has talented youngsters, they usually win. If not first time out, they usually win first or second time out.
Right. He was beaten by Roman Giant, who is a Steve Asmussen horse, who then went on to win his next start. But, yeah.
Are we, back to the 1 for a minute, backside buzz. So 9-2. Just purely from what he earned in that figure last time out. And I know you look at the race, and I didn't like it either. But a 67 buyer in that performance. And I guess that's the reason they're putting this horse into this. It is a restricted maiden special weight. But would a repeat of that put him in the mix here?
Well, yeah, but he's also going to have to hope that nobody else steps forward. And I just, he's the most exposed of any of these. And the fact that he just did not look great finishing up that last race, I can't endorse him, Greg.
It's a hard race to back off what we showed you last time.
I mean, is it reliable? It's such an outlier. I mean, okay, his next fastest race is a 58. So that's 9 points less.
But too, just the way he did it, I don't even like the race at all.
No, it was a easier spot. This is a tougher spot.
Yeah, by the way, Paulie, thank you. Working hard as usual. Talk to Steve Asmussen. It's Tivy, I guess. The even money favorite. That's the pronunciation he just asked him. So 3-year-old debut coming up, even money on this. That's a short price. Absolutely could get the job done here and win. 2, though, when you're trying to make all these changes with a horse, it's telling you what? I mean, you know, you're around horses every day. Your husband's a trainer. Telling you you're not getting what you want from the horse, right?
Yeah, especially when you see top trainers do it, when they mess around with equipment, that they're frustrated.
Reasons to play against an even money favorite. We'll see. Can Tivy get it done from that outside post? Nightcap coming up. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Tivy and Woody's Choice, Bold Doro, Backside Buzz, Running for Cash, and Blues Admiral all fire out for the front. Then comes April Fool's Andy with North Wind, and at the back of the pack, the trailer is Winnemac Avenue. Up the backstretch with Blues Admiral and Bold Doro. These two match strides. Blues Admiral outside, Bold Doro at the rail and ahead in front. Tivy is in perfect striking position, if good enough, 2 from the lead. He's a length in front of Running for Cash. Woody's Choice and Backside Buzz have about 5 lengths to make up. They're 2 in front of April Fool's Andy, and they run towards the top of the stretch, and Bold Doro has the lead. Bold Doro just in front of Blues Admiral. Tivy continues to catch the eye, and here he comes all the way up to challenge. Woody's Choice is following him, and Tivy and Blues Admiral are now 1-2 at the top of the stretch. Tivy ahead in front. Woody's Choice is next. Then from the back of the pack comes April Fool's Andy. And from between horses, rallying up the fence to retake the lead now is Bold Doro. Bold Doro has the lead. Here's Backside Buzz in the center of the racetrack, and he's making a big run. Backside Buzz, Bold Doro, Backside Buzz in front on his right lead. Well done. Backside Buzz beat Bold Doro. Tivy was 3rd, and April Fool's Andy finished 4th.
Well, he did move forward today. Backside Buzz, 10th time out, breaks his maiden here on this wet track.
Ay. You know, sometimes some, like people, horses are varying speeds of learners. And I would definitely say Backside Buzz is a slow learner. He finally switched to his outside right lead, 3 strides before the wire. But he just came with a whole head of steam, I should say. And, I mean, giving a little credit to the runner-up here in Bold Doro. He ran a winning race. It's just, I guess, the foundation paid off.
Looked pretty good when he finally did switch
He
leads,
did.
didn't
He did.
Christian Torres, Tom Vance, and Asana Connect finally breaking through. And props the Connections who stepped him back up into a maiden special.
They got rewarded. That's for sure. Although this is an interesting condition, to be fair, for the maidens, which have sold for $75,000 or less at auction in their last auction, I should say. So, you know, we'll have to see more of these to see how they stack up with the maiden 75s or the maiden special weights.
I got to say, good run, too. Bold Doro, 2nd time out
Really
for Greg
good.
Compton.
Yep.
One to watch maybe next time with Tyler Bays. Backside Buzz the win to close out this card at Oakland. I believe 7-2 on your winner. We'll have the prices when we come back here on America's Day at the Races.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage, brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Alapa Nightcap in the books. In Hot Springs, Backside Buzz. Late switching leads. Probably didn't even need to here, though, with this performance. 10th time out. Breaks his maiden son of Connect. Tom Vance, Christian Torres, $9 for the win.
Figuring it all out when it counts, stepping back into a maiden special weight. Christian Torres just riding so well right now, so strong and so resolute, especially with this victory.
Persistent and patient with Backside Buzz. Tom Vance gets the maiden score. He's standing by with Paulie.
Yeah, patience is a virtue. I am standing by Tom Vance. Great training job here, Tom. And you just told me that this son of Connect is just getting better and better.
Yes, sir. Every time the last 4 starts, he just keeps improving and keeps going. Looks like he'll go on it also.
He was 109-1 3 starts ago. You gave him Lasix and sort of a horse that was to the front end. And I asked you, did you tell Kristen to take this horse back?
I just told him to ride him. So I told him just let him break and let him see where he sets and come running.
You knew there was going to be some speed in the race. Yes, at what point did you think, oh my God, we're going to circle this field?
At the 3/8 pole, I thought we were in trouble. When we got to the quarter pole, I knew we had a shot.
Well, great job, Tommy. You do a great job here out in the Midwest. And by the way, him and Christian Torres, is that the first time you've rode Christian?
Yes, it is. First time.
I think you're going to ride him a little bit more.
Yes, sir.
Gets a leading rider home.
Best trainer. He is it. He's the best trainer.
Thank you, boss.
That's all that matters. Back to you, Greg.
Thank you.
Hottest combination going right now in the game. They're 1 for 1. They've never lost. How about that? First time using a rider, you get a win like that. And I guess finding a different way to do it, that probably was not the plan to say, sit back, come from off the pace with his horse, but it worked out.
Well, it kind of makes sense, too, because as we showed, he wants to lay on other horses. So let him get a little cover, let him have a target at least, and then get him away from all of that. And we saw him actually switch leads, putting it all together. And it does feel like some of these connects, if I'm saying that right, they are better when they get older.
10th time for Backside Buzz. gets that victory and got an opportunity to earn a little money for the owners along the way before you get that maiden win. Never a bad thing.
Yeah, you got to love that. And Christian Torres, who we'll see him tomorrow, well represented in the stake, the Bayakoa and Lovely Ride.
Yeah, we're going to look at that again before we sign off here. That's the feature tomorrow's card at Oaklawn in this distaff division. Again, the creme de la creme, that grade 1 Apple Blossom. It's been, I thought, one of the good stories of this meet. We'll get to Lovely Ride in a minute, but trying to win her 3rd stakes victory in a row. Let's start with a Mo Ray moving to the Brad Cox barn, getting that win, highest figure she's ever run. It was a race that was taken off the turf to get it done. Meanwhile, Powder River, 9 times of her 21 career starts. She's been first or second. She comes in from Fairgrounds.
Now she's going to be the one that is applying some pressure, you would have to think, to Lovely Ride, as she's drawn to the inside of her, and even the horse Grayson's Macho Gal could be forward as well in here. Powder River, she didn't get the lead. When she gets the lead, she can be pretty resolute. She is a little bit of a bridesmaid, though. Finishing 6 times in the place position in her 21 starts.
All right, so back to Lovely Ride. All of a sudden, Robertino Diodoro, he has found something with this 5-year-old mare. She wins the Mistletoe. She does a gate to wire on a sloppy track. She wins the Pippin gate to wire, where there was supposed to be a little more speed, and she was supposed to take some heat. It did not materialize. Can she do it 3 times in a row in Stakes Company?
Well, it feels as though Christian Torres certainly fits her like a glove. He can certainly get one out of the gate quite well. He's going to have to do it from the outside, like we were saying, Greg, whereas last time and the time before that, she was drawn more inside. Does the post position hurt her tomorrow going this 2-turn mile in the 16th? It could, but it just feels like if you want the hot horse, that's her. You wanted the in-form horse, that is her. And like I said before to you, I really don't think she absolutely needs the lead to be effective and to win.
She's been drawn more inside, though, those 2 wins.
That's what I mean. Is that a factor, or is it a non-factor?
Yeah.
Are we going to make too much of a deal of it, or
she may just be too quick and get to the front anyway. Meanwhile, Mo Ray had been with Todd Pletcher, goes to Brad Cox. They were going to put her on the grass. It was washed off. She wins anyway, and she wins for fun, actually, on a good track at Fairgrounds.
She is going to have to improve, I think, to beat Lovely Ride, and Lovely Ride will have to take a step back. But could it be the wet track? I've always thought she's a horse that looks like she'd like a wet track. So certainly wasn't the toughest field. You always question races taken off the turf. You should definitely question this one. Free Like a Girl, as you know me, I'm not hating on Louisiana breds, but she is the law bred that did return to win a law bred stake in her subsequent start. So you might see that and put more into that win with a Mo Ray than you should, is my kind of thinking there. And I guess Connections would be hoping for a wet track again.
We keep wanting to see that big performance too from Le Davida, because we saw those 2 starts in the States. They were so good, and she just has not moved on from those.
I know we were so excited to see her. I feel like going back to the Pippin Stakes, and she just was no match for Lovely Ride, but it's in there. A good performance is in there, Greg, and maybe she catches the right setup, and Lovely Ride takes a little bit of pressure up front, and she can just sit the right trip and pounce.
Ice Orchid, too, just missed against Lovely Ride last time out. Maybe she gets a little more pace set up. The race you're most looking forward to tomorrow?
Yeah, this is a very contentious field. Absolutely. Though the turf races at Tampa, they look pretty good, too. I'm looking forward to them, too.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, Endeavor, we're going to have both of those as well. Check your local listings. We will see you at 3 Eastern start time tomorrow on FS2. So we hope you join us at Tampa Bay today. Tracy Ann's Legacy getting the win in the main event. Wind Machine on the grass for Joe Orsino. Unbridled Twister, just the best in the feature at Oaklawn, winning for the 3rd time in her career, pulling away from that group late under Ricardo Santana Jr. And a Mo Ray. Can she back up what she did on a race taken off the turf at Fairgrounds tomorrow in the Bayakoa?
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third crop turf sire in North America.